Subscribe today, Tommy, if you love movies.
Hey, look at boobies! I like movies. Hey, Cinema Gulp, where are ya? Help!
Hey, take it easy.
But I lost Cinema Gulp.
Stay calm. Just go to YouTube to subscribe and hit the bell for all the latest videos.
Hey, we're Cinema Gulp and we drink your cinema.
Thanks, Joe. Now I can subscribe.
And subscribing is half the battle.
You know what? You don't have an answer for that, do you? You, man. I'm sorry.
I like beer. It makes me a jolly good fellow.
Hey, remember when.
Is this thing up?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cinema Gulp. It's Hump Day Happy Hour. 3 in a row for us, Scotty. That's got to be some sort of a record.
It is.
It's been a while. I want to first introduce my co-host here. And by the way, this is Hump Day Happy Hour. Triple H, if you consider Hump Day one word, which we here do. He's the Ayatollah of Flat Coca-Cola. He is the Michael Cera of Jesse Eisenberg's. It's Scotty R37.
Oh, I like that. Too bad.
They're kind of the
Scott
same
Pilgrim, yo.
And I want to introduce a friend of mine, a former colleague. I'm so glad to have him on the show. And if you can't tell, I got my USC garb out. And I'm also here with the koozie because he is my friend from USC and filmmaker. This is Billy Higgins, everybody. Welcome him to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, dude, I heard you mentioning to Scotty that we were supposed to do this about 5 years ago, and then the coof happened, and the whole dreams of live streaming went away for just a little bit. But it's good to finally actually have you on, my friend. I know you're a huge movie guy. He's a little background. Him and I taught students at USC. Journalism and communication school how to use Avid and how to be an editor and how to put together news packages. And he did more than that. He also taught the podcast section, which I did not. But that was your baby, right? Like you kind of put that whole thing together.
Yeah, they had me build a radio booth and a radio program. And then they had a faculty person be in charge of teaching the students how to do the content, run the show, and I was in charge of the equipment. I didn't painstakingly build it myself. They hired other parties to put in the equipment, but I had to babysit it and stay in charge of it. Yeah, it was good times back then.
It was fun. I miss it. Obviously everybody has a selective memory about things. I have a selective memory about my time in the military. Not every day at USC was great, but I do miss it a lot. I miss you guys, and that was it was fun times. It was fun times. And if you didn't notice from Billy just now, you can hire him if you want a voiceover for a commercial because he's got that voice, and he did it for one of mine. That's my cat. Sorry.
Also a fan.
And I just remember I got this commercial job for some stadium.
It was a parking reservation.
The parking reservation system.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, I need Billy's voice for that.
Yeah, I remember that.
I paid you a whopping $50 for that.
Hey, that was a lot of money for me at the time. And I think it still is. Yeah, that was great.
Well, it's good to have you here, man. It's good to see you. And hey, guys, cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it up.
Cheers.
Bring it up.
So
What's everybody drinking? Obviously, I got Modelo. Nice.
Yeah, good job on the USC stuff. Ben. I actually was going to wear a USC shirt, but they're all dirty. I need to do laundry, so I had to go with the 49ers today.
Well, I always have the blanket here because it's always over my couch, but I thought I'd put some Fight On stuff down there too, just in honor of us hanging out again. But so let's get into what I think is a very optimistic and interesting weekend box office. I was really happy to see this, even though I do not want to see the movie. And I'll tell you why. So How to Train Your Dragon over the weekend made about 90 million, and right now it's at 105. That's okay. That's good. I didn't want to see it because I think Scotty knows this. How to Train Your Dragon, the trilogy of animated DreamWorks films, are my favorite animated movies of all time. Absolute favorite. The story of a boy and his dog will get me every fucking time. And that John Powell score is so underrated. He should have won Oscars for that shit. It's just an amazing score. It gives you the chills. There's sad moments in it. There's epic moments in it. I love that trilogy. So I'm glad this movie's doing good, but I have no reason to see it because from what I hear, I've already seen the better version of it. But I've heard it's good. Have you seen it, Billy?
I have not yet. I've seen the original. I watched it with my kids. It is very likely we will probably wind up in a theater later this summer seeing it.
I figured, yeah.
That or Lilo and Stitch or possibly Jurassic World when it comes out.
I would say, because at the ages that you told me your kids were, How to Train Your Dragon is probably your best option. But I'm going to see Jurassic World, but I'm not going to take any kids to it.
Yeah, they love Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. We have not.
Oh, okay, all right.
That I would say my daughter's very excited to see Lilo and Stitch, and no one else in my family is. Because, no insult to the filmmakers, but just no one else in my household wants to see Lilo and Stitch except her. But I have a feeling we're going to see one of these movies at some point this summer.
I missed the entire hype train of Lilo and Stitch because I was on a tour overseas when all the Lilo and Stitch explosion happened in 2002. When I came back, I just had no idea what it was. So I completely missed every word that was spoken about that movie. So I didn't even know what it was until until they announced.
I could say more about it because, so it's number 2 in the box office. The remake that's great. But the one in 2002, the animated original, I caught on more than I thought. I was a senior at USC and I went on a road trip with a bunch of friends to the Orange Bowl during the holidays of our senior year. So we're driving across the country, and next thing I know, my friends got a stuffed Stitch, and like doing hearing with it, going, and I'm like, what the hell? So I guess it really caught on with the college kids as well.
Really? Okay.
But yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I liked it, but it didn't make me want to buy a stuffed Stitch.
Yeah. I've never seen it, and I would respond with like, stop shaking that shitty gremlin at me.
See, I don't know who Lilo is or Stitch. I don't even know what it's about.
I don't even know.
All I know is it's like set in Hawaii. That's the only thing I know about the movie.
So Lilo's the human girl, Stitch is the alien. That's pretty much the basics.
That's all you need to know, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's cleaning up. It's on its way to $1 billion. It'll probably make it by the end of the month, and good for it. I love wholesome family shit. It's wonderful. But Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is putting its final nail in the coffin for a movie that cost $400 million to make and is not very good. It's not going to recoup a goddamn cent, and that sucks. It's at 169 now, and by this time next week, it'll be probably in 5th or 6th place. It'll probably pull in a couple, $15 million. And I hate to say that because I love the franchise, but I did not like the last 2 movies.
But I think that it is also going to, because there have been guarantees from Macquarie and Cruise that there is going to be a physical release. So they are still counting on that.
I'm glad because as much as people say that part of revenue doesn't exist anymore, it does. It's just not the way it used to. Like, I mean, people back in the day, like if you rented something from a video store, you got revenue. You got royalties out of that, So yeah, people are going to buy, they're going to put out a fucking massive Mission Impossible box set on 4K, and that people are going to eat that shit up. So it'll still do okay, but theatrically it's a shit show.
I didn't care for it.
Yeah, it's not a very good movie. Did you see it, Billy?
I did not. I barely ever get out to movie theaters unless it's a kid's movie.
Yeah,
and I as much as I want to support going out to movies, especially since I am playing a movie in a theater.
Well, you're making movies. That's support right there.
But here's the deal. I mean, I'm part of the problem because I got 3 kids. It's very expensive and very logistically draining to take my family out to the movies, especially when they want to buy everything at the concession stand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the last movie I saw in a theater that was for adults was Barbie.
Was that for adults?
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't know.
Well,
I didn't see it.
We didn't bring the kids. It was me and the wife. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's fair enough. Yeah, I never saw Barbie. I did see Oppenheimer.
I saw Oppenheimer as well. I saw it at home.
Yeah, at home. It's pretty great. I'll finish up real fast. Ballerina, which I was supposed to see last night with Josh, I couldn't see. I think he liked it. It's not doing very well. Karate Kid Legends is a joke.
Yeah, you're just
nobody cared because it's not Cobra Kai. Final Destination Bloodlines.
Cobra Kai buzz. It's not doing so good.
Well, apparently, as soon as the reviews came out and said they don't even mention anything from Cobra Kai, then everybody's like, "Fuck this," because Cobra Kai is amazing. But I'm so happy that Final Destination Bloodlines is still doing so well. That movie was a blast. Phoenician Scheme I saw last week, the new Wes Anderson movie. Fantastic movie. This is pretty on par for Wes Anderson. It's grossed $13 million on, I think, a $22 million budget. They don't expect his movies to make money. They just like having him at Fox Searchlight and Focus Features because it's street cred. He's hip. He's cool. He makes different shit.
I'm curious about the longevity of the movie, just because is Fox, obviously Fox Searchlight is owned by Fox, which is owned by Disney. And I'm just, in terms of exhibitioners, just what the difficulties are with getting those movies into smaller art house theaters or repertory cinemas.
With Fox Searchlight, Disney completely left it as its own entity, which I really, really appreciated. Because I've always really liked Fox Searchlight. They've put out some amazing independent films.
They were like A24 before A24.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, but except without doing all these weird movies and stuff, But I think they go all the way back to the Before trilogy, Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, all that shit.
Sure.
Hey, Booger's here. Booger says hello. Hey, thanks, Booger. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. All right, guys, let's move on here. Box office is. I'm happy for How to Train Your Dragon. I just don't want to see it because I've already seen it.
And if you don't mind me saying, I see that Minecraft is still on there. I guess it was number 13.
Yeah, Minecraft didn't get to 1 billion, but it got close.
I've seen that movie like 5 times now because it's been on my TV like 20,000.
Have you seen it 5 times by your choice or by your kid's choice?
Not by my choice, but I did really enjoy it. They knew what they were doing with that movie and they really did it well. And it's Jack.
Apparently they did because it didn't get scrutinized. It kind of got left alone. And
do your kids use like switchblades on the couch and fire off fireworks indoors anytime the chicken jockey shows up on screen?
Daddy, can we get a live chicken?
The chicken is talked about quite a bit, but there's none of that stuff.
No. Of course not.
I've never heard the term chicken jockey in my life until I saw some YouTube shorts because I've never played. The only thing I've ever gotten, I've ever had anything to do with Minecraft is when my godson was a kid and he was into it, I'd buy him Minecraft things. And I didn't know what they were. It was like a sword that was rigid shaped, and I didn't even know what it was. But yeah, he was into Minecraft, so I got him Minecraft toys. I didn't know what it was, and I still don't. And I probably never will because I don't care.
You and me both, man. I just enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, fair. Like, and that's the thing. I'm glad that people dig it if it's actually doing what it set out to do. And
yeah,
oh yeah,
that's rad.
If it makes the fans of the game happy, then it's a fucking win. You know, and that's all. You know,
the parents that are dragging themselves to the theater, they're seeing Jack Black be Jack Black. They're seeing Jason Momoa be Jason Momoa. They're seeing Jennifer Coolidge be Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah,
and that's
Stifler's
all.
mom.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge will never not be Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, you can just tune out all the Minecraft stuff and just enjoy these actors that you love. So
sure. Yeah,
I kind of felt that way about the Jumanji reboot, where it's like, I really enjoyed that first Jumanji movie. I didn't see the second one, but not the Robin Williams one, but the one with The Rock and Jack Black. I really enjoyed that movie because you're so entertained by the actors on screen and what they're doing, and then you get your little Indiana Jones type adventure in there. I thought that movie was great.
And it's very funny you say that, Ben. Not that I want to start talking about my movie right now, but that was the goal.
No, please do. Please do.
Well, because I'm going to say right now, like, as far as a plot or concept, there's not really much new to say about the apocalypse from my film, but you're there to watch the actors be the characters. And that is kind of what makes it work. As just like you said, the Jumanji movie, Minecraft, you're seeing the actors do their thing. They're in the parts they should be in. It all works. And that's kind of the magic that I think works if you're watching and you're like, dude, I don't care about Minecraft, So,
well, I think it's with post-apocalyptic specifically, you need to have characters that you want to follow. Otherwise, what's the point? Like Book of Eli, Snake Plissken, like you need, like they're characters that you're like invested in. Even I know Snake Plissken's a little one note, but you like him. He's kind of like a pirate. But you have to be able to feel something for the characters on the journey that they're going on. So when they do encounter danger, you give a fuck. So yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you folk. I always say a movie's plot is the backdrop for the characters. You have to the characters are the most important thing, because you can have the fucking coolest concept in the world, but if you don't write the characters right, no one's going to care at all. It's not going to connect.
I fully agree, and I think that's one of the things that always drove me nuts when I lived in LA. And people would come and be like, "Oh, Billy, you went to USC. Hey, bro, I got the best idea for a movie. So these guys, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and bro, and it'd be the best movie ever." And I'm like, okay, but who are these people you're talking about?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The tidal wave is the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Really quick, guys, before we get into our sort of two big things, I know Scotty does not have any DVDs to share, but I did get to. Or do you or do you not?
No, are you calling me poor or something? Like I didn't.
You will have an ice cream headache.
Okay.
I did 2 weeks in a row of expanding my library. I'm taking a week off.
I was not calling you out, sir.
No, I'm just joking.
So what arrived for me today, and Scotty knows I don't buy like 4K stuff. I don't have a 4K player, but I do love Blu-ray. So I stick with that for now. But for a decent price, I got I got my all-time two favorite Clint Eastwood movies on Blu-ray. I got High Plains Drifter.
Nice.
And I got Outlaw Josie Wales, which I still have on VHS. But I realized, I'm like, God, I haven't watched that movie since I had a VHS player about 15 years ago. So, yes, I got these two movies. They're masterpieces. Obviously, Outlaw Josie Wales, to me, is the best Western ever made. in my opinion. High Plains Drifter is very brutal and very stereotypical in the best ways possible. Man comes into town, belittles all the poor, helpless people in it, but at the end of the day decides to defend it against bad people and murders them all in bloody glory. So yeah.
No, that's
so
amazing.
Yeah,
I think that High Plains Drifter is probably my favorite Western.
It's so fucking good, man.
Yeah.
It's more, there's more going on in that movie than Josie Wales. Josie Wales is a character study for the most part. You know, it's very slow moving. When the young kid dies, it's just, it goes on, but you just like love it. And, you know, he's a Civil War veteran with basically PTSD before there was PTSD, or before they called it that anyway. But yeah, those two movies are very special to me. I love it. I love those two movies, and I got them at a very, very decent price. I think I paid $20 total for both of them. So
nice. I would love to hear about the Blu-ray transfer. I've only seen it on VHS and DVD.
Are you talking High Plains?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious too, because that movie is grainy as fuck.
It's grungy. That's part of the reason why I love it. You can breathe the dust through the picture. It's great.
Well, let's say happy 20th anniversary to Batman Begins.
You'll be in a padded cell forever. He's a paranoid schizophrenic. Drop the gun. Where is he? Where are they? This city just showed you that it's full of people ready to believe in good. I want to fucking kick your fucking ass.
That's great, but those were all Dark Knight clips.
It ignited the Christopher Nolan Batman era, right? You know, it's all relevant. And are we still in the Christopher Nolan Batman era, or are we moved on? I can't even keep track anymore.
There's Billy.
Marvel and DC, Billy. Whatever going around. I can't even keep track.
No, it's like it's been moved to like Zack Snyder, and now it's Matt Reeves, and I don't know. But no. The Christian Bale era is over. But I think Batman Begins is one of the best. It's one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. I think it's fantastic. The reason those clips were chosen, Scotty, is because the voice really takes it to the next level in The Dark Knight, in The Dark Knight Rises.
And I remember, Ben, our co-colleague at the time, John Goldsmith, coming like, what? Like, I like the new Batman movies. What's with the voice? Why is like, what's up with that?
Oh, I miss John. I know he left too. Yeah, I was surprised. I thought he was going to be there till the day he died.
I think he went back to Georgia. So
yeah. Love you, John Goldsmith.
Yeah.
Let's see. Booger says nobody cares about the anniversary of the Schumacher Batman movies. Well, I don't know when those anniversaries are. I love Batman Forever. I think that movie is a lot of fun, despite Tommy Lee Jones doing his best Jack Nicholson Joker impression, trying to be Two-Face. Other than that,
I just keep seeing videos on TikTok of Nicole Kidman, doing her
sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but actually, Ben, it was you who sort of opened my eyes to the wonder of Batman Begins.
I went on your guys' show.
Yeah. And we reviewed it over on the Phantasmagorium, but like I had seen the first one and I loved the first one, but the promise of seeing the Joker in Batman Begins again, it was like I was waiting for the next installment at the moment the first installment ended, and I'd never really gone back and given it a reappraisal. But I like it for being almost singular in terms of it is a Batman story about Batman, which doesn't happen in any of the other ones, which I really want to know more about the guy behind the mask or the guy who puts on the mask to cover up his true identity or his false identity.
It was the only Batman movie ever made up until that point that was fucking about Batman. And then when The Batman with Robert Pattinson came out, that was also about Batman. But until that point, it was always about the villains, or, you know, the 89 Batman. Batman was a myth. Like, you never really watched the movie from his perspective, even though you did at some points in the movie. It was like a myth and legend. And so I like it when you find out that it's just a guy, you know, and he trained as a ninja, and, you know, that stuff's way more interesting than just, oh, he climbs on rooftops. And then you just see him for like random scenes and tell fucking an hour and a half into the movie, you know?
Well, and I think that's something that Tim Burton carried with his Batman movies, is that Batman only shows up when Batman is needed. And that's why there was the focus on the villains. And then with Schumacher, it was just how many different suits can we make so that we can sell the toys? Although, yes, I have a fondness for Forever, not for and Robin, but whatever. I'd love to see the directors. Apparently, there's a director's cut of Forever, the Schumacher cut.
Well, did you hear about that? No, the screening got canceled, and they threatened to sue the theater for playing it. Warner Brothers. They threatened to sue the theater. It's like, dude, what the fuck? It's a fucking 30-year-old movie. Who cares? You know, who cares?
But yeah, I celebrate the sort of transition, and in terms of it being a more grounded and realistic, I'm glad that they didn't, even though Christopher Nolan produced Man of Steel, I'm glad that they didn't do Christian Bale and Henry Cavill. I'm glad that didn't get piled into the universe.
No, that was never going to happen. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Yeah. But I'm just glad. Well, I don't know. Corporate entities with intellectual properties can be stupid, and people back up dump trucks full of money to make people do stupider stuff.
That's true.
I'm glad that they didn't go in that direction and sort of made the Snyderverse. And I look forward to anything that's coming out now. But also, when it comes to Batman as a character, you have things. There are, so, as you said, Billy, where are we in the Batmans? How many Batman? We're in the Diedrich Bader era of Batman, where he plays Brave and the Bold.
Get me started on my lack of understanding of the MCU. I just can't.
I heard they're trying to bring, what's his name? I was going to say Bob Kane. Fucking, what's his name? 66 Batman. Adam West.
Oh, Adam West.
They're going to bring him back in AI form. That was
kind of like Peter Cushing in Rogue One. Sure, why not?
Imagine a whole movie of AI fucking Adam West.
Yeah,
I would watch that.
I totally would. Well, but also, like, there are 2 direct-to-video animated Adam West 1966 Batmans, and what is it? William Shatner plays Two-Face in the second one. They get back.
I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, yeah, man. No, there's Batman all over the place.
Wow.
Well, happy 20th anniversary to Batman Begins. I remember seeing that movie in the theater with a friend of mine I was in college at the time in Chicago, and we went and saw it, and we loved the editing. A lot of people didn't like it. They thought it was jarring. I love the editing, how it's showing the origin, but moving the story forward at the same time. Very good juxtaposition, like certain things. I just found it amazing. And yeah, the villains, there's no Joker in it. That's, The Dark Knight is known because the Joker's so fucking awesome. And I agree. There's no Joker. There's Ra's al Ghul, and there's like 10 minutes of the Scarecrow, but that movie is masterfully done to get you to understand Batman and Bruce and why he became what he became. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it for that.
Also, aside from Batman and comic book movies, didn't Batman Begins start this whole onslaught of origin stories?
Yeah, I think so. Because it did it so good.
Origin story of this franchise.
We got to do a Wolverine origin story and a Magneto Wolverine story. We should do Carl the Greenskeeper from Caddyshack's origin story. I want to see that.
I would actually like to see that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on. You know, this weekend we have 28 Years Later coming out, which is a zombie movie, but you can also call it a post-apocalyptic movie. And our buddy Billy here just made one of those, and I want to hear a little bit more about it. It's called 3, right?
Yes, it is.
It's called 3, and I didn't know the name of it until I started watching it, and I was like, "Oh, I like that title sequence." But yeah, give it. What made you think of this idea?
Yeah, well, there's no zombies in it. First of all,
that's right. Post-apocalyptic, no zombies.
Yeah, well, just to keep people's expectations correct, this is something that could actually happen. And because the Rand Corporation has done studies about it, there was a fear about it after 9/11 and everything, and but anyway, how I came up with the idea was 2007. I was driving from LA to San Francisco to go up to what we call the Weekender. It's when the USC folk, they go up to the Bay Area to watch USC play.
I remember all the students going up to that.
Yeah, of course they don't do that anymore because now we're in the Big Ten. But and I just was driving through on Interstate 5, through the Central Valley. I think I was somewhere in the Bakersfield area. And when you drive on Interstate 5 or any of these roads in California in the winter, there's these freeway signs that come up on the side of the road that say, "Hey, for highway info, tune to AM 670."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, normally it's like, oh, there's a closure on the Grapevine or something like that. And so I tuned to one of these things, and it's like, marred by static with this like ominous female. It was like, "This is Caltrans, notifying you about inclement road conditions and dangerous driving conditions in the San Joaquin Valley area." And I'm like, God, that sounds creepy. What if that voice was announcing like fucking World War III, like nuclear bombs were going on? And I'm like, dude, well, what would I do? And how would I deal with it? And then the movie idea just came right from there. Granted, it took 18 years to get where I am today, but that's how I came up with the idea. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
It's funny how like people that love to write stuff and you're always playing movies in your head, your own movies in your head. You have your own soundtrack in your head.
Oh yeah.
That something like that, like a radio broadcast or whatever, can just be like, oh shit, I can do something with this. And I love it. There's so many people that have those kind of stories where it's like this simple little thing I saw on the street the other day made me write a whole script, and because it blows up from nothing, and then you're like, oh, I got to create the characters, and that's amazing. Man.
But just to let you know what that turned into after the millions of script revisions. And I would also say at one point I did the scary thing of rewriting the script from the ground up at one point, which, there's a website you can search this on the internet. There's like Pixar's like top 10 story writing or screenwriting tips. And one of the steps is like, now that you've done like draft 10, rewrite it from the ground up. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I can't do that. Yeah. I'm too scared to go. Yeah, I can't do that. Yeah.
So was I. But then once I finally did it, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. But it was still not right because the 3 protagonists were still dudes, college dudes. And I'm like, this still feels boring to me. And then I changed them to women, committed to that. It wasn't the first time I came with that idea, but I committed to that. And I'm like, this is it. So now it's 3 women walking across the Central Valley of California after nuclear bomb goes off in San Francisco, inciting a World War III. But I also had to work with Robert Scheer. Do you remember Robert Scheer from Annenberg, from USC Annenberg? Yeah. So when I first came up with the idea in 2007, I didn't really have much education on what a World War III looked like, and he had to make me understand that a World War III in the like most feared sense of the world means mutually assured destruction of.
Yeah, it's nothing like the previous world wars.
Where basically, wiping the planet clean of all livability. And so he had to dial down my scope and be like, hey, it's not gonna be multiple bombs coming off. What you probably should do is like maybe it's a nuclear terrorism situation where someone, some terrorists have smuggled nuclear weapons onto cargo ships and they're set to detonate in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, and there's your backstory. So I went with that. And even though that's not explicitly explained in the film, although it's speculated at, that made a more plausible scenario for these three characters to go through what they go through as they're hiking through the middle of nowhere on foot.
It sounds like when it's an intimate story about three characters, not explaining exactly what happened is always the better route. Like not fully explaining it, because they wouldn't know. Like if that happened to me right now, I would be someone that just had no fucking clue what was going on, especially if all communication disappeared. I would just be like, oh, okay, I got to save myself and my cat. And I hope my friends are okay. I'll try to get to them. But yeah, you don't know,
Exactly. And I actually had that reconfirmed. I passed the idea by Judy Muller, another faculty at USC. Back when you and I were working there, Ben. And she talked about, and she was a journalist, and she was talking about during 9/11, she was out in the middle of nowhere. She was like in rural Kansas or something. I mean, I don't remember where it was, but she's like, yeah, I just heard that there was an attack in New York and in Washington, D.C. I had no idea what the hell. I was scared that that it was worse than it actually was. As bad as 9/11 was, she was automatically imagining it was something worse. And
well, 9/11 put that in our heads. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I was playing off of, because like you just said, Ben, the scariest part of it is you just don't know. You're not going to know, and you probably will never know unless there's a system in place to notify you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, that'll always be my problem with Independence Day, the movie, is that every character, and I get it, they become a central part of the story because that's why we're introduced to them. I get that. But it's just, I love War of the Worlds, the Steven Spielberg War of the Worlds, because they're just people on the ground that don't have anything to do with anything, and they're just trying to survive,
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it's funny because when I first came with the idea in 2007, I was like, I do not want this to be a Roland Emmerich movie. As much as I enjoyed,
nobody does.
As much as I enjoyed Independence Day when I was in high school and seeing it in the theater, I loved it. But I was like, I want to do something different. It felt like an original idea at the time because the Walking Dead TV show hadn't come out yet. I mean, the comic book was out, but psychological thrillers about the apocalypse weren't really much of a thing. Now they're everywhere. Now you've got The Walking Dead and its million spinoffs. You got The Last of Us. You got The Last of Us video game and the TV show. You had, Last Man of Earth, a comedy on network TV with Will Forte. Now there's tons of
apocalypse. I heard that was good. Yeah,
it was pretty good. But then I really had to think over the years, okay, what makes mine different? And what you said, Ben, earlier is that it's going to be the actors, the characters doing their thing. You're going to enjoy watching the characters. And so that became the priority.
And three women is extremely interesting. Not that I mean, interesting in a good way. Because, I'm surprised you didn't go with three bro dudes who have the Olsen twins' 18th birthday spray painted across their shirt. That's something that Eli Roth would have done, obviously.
For the longest time, it was three bro dudes. Finally changed, but it wasn't. We didn't do the Olsen twins. There was a lot of jokes about the Hills. A lot of frat boy humor that is not in there.
Well, considering when you first started writing it, I'm sure there were some Jersey Shore jokes in there as well.
Yeah, it's possible it was mentioned there. I'd have to reread draft 6 or 5 or
that's literally what scares me the most about rewriting something I've written, is that I wrote it in an era and things have changed drastically since then. Just like, okay, well, now I guess everyone has a cell phone in their hand, a fucking smartphone in their hand, where they didn't in 2004. I mean, they had phones, but they weren't staring at them 24/7.
Right.
And that's a lot of things you have to go through to change. It's not just the visual, it's the mindset, you have to write out why can't they use their phones. And obviously in your film, I'm sure it's just because comms are down everywhere. Like
Yes.
satellites are down. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And like I said, the RAND Corporation has done a step-by-step document outlining what would happen if a nuclear bomb was smuggled into the port of Long Beach and detonated. And I just basically adapted that scenario to the Bay Area or the Northern Central Valley, Sacramento Delta. But he also said something else very interesting, Ben. You said the whole thing about, you know, when you go back to an old script, what has changed? Well, think about something else that's happened in the last 18 years. I call it COVID, but it sounds like you called it something else. Was it
The
caboose?
coof.
Oh, the
Yeah,
coof.
YouTube
The coof,
rules.
yeah. YouTube doesn't like saying that word, so we have to say the
it's like,
coof. I don't know why, Billy, but the coof.
So do we have to like go back and bleep out me saying that?
No,
nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
You're fine. You're fine. Yeah.
But
you're
what
fine.
happened, and that kind of reframed everything to really help me really hone in on what was important about the story. Think about when the pandemic started. The number one thing I got to be afraid of was not the virus itself, but the fact that people were starting to get into full-on fights at the grocery
Yeah,
store.
the people. Yeah.
The toilet paper fights, you know, not fights with toilet paper.
The great TV war of 2020.
Billy, me and John, the other guy that started this channel with me, right when those toilet paper wars and shit started just showing up all over TikTok or whatever, we did a show where we discussed Contagion and Outbreak, those two, like a double feature of awful outbreaks. And I don't think anybody ever commented on it, but this is when we have the set that we actually were, you know, shooting on camera and editing and stuff. And we just had rolls of toilet paper all around us, and we never make mention of it, but it was just toilet paper everywhere. And I thought that was funny, but no one ever said, "Hey, that's funny that you guys did the toilet paper thing." But
people weren't
you
busting
thought it was funny.
down coming to steal it, because that's what I was afraid of.
Oh
Yeah,
my
let's
God.
throw it
Like, luckily for me, I was where I work, we were essential workers. So I got to continue to work through the coof. And, I would just steal giant. I'd be the guy running out with this gigantic pack of fucking toilet paper. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to turn the whole conversation into toilet paper, but you know,
We're sponsored
we do
by
that sometimes.
Charmin, everybody.
My case, motherfucker!
I love that. But well,
we're sponsored by the Shit Bears. Yes,
There you go.
that's what helped me refocus the story about fear. You know, the main character Spencer is kind of a female embodiment of me, in sense, like how would I act in this scenario where, you know, it was the end of the world, or the end of the world was ending, or looked like it was ending, or World War III was starting. And it's really like, hey, you know, screw what's going on in the world. It's about the fact that we're all going to start fighting over toilet paper. But in this case, in my film, it's not toilet paper. It's just people are panicking,
looting.
Yeah.
Well,
I've always said the scariest. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just curious when you shifted it over from Dude Bros to a female cast of protagonists. No, and this is a serious question. It's like, because Dude Bros and then women protagonists, it sounds like there was a lot more levity or comedy and then reality crashed into it. And did that change when you changed the gender of the protagonists?
Actually, not much changed.
So it's still like, and that's all.
Good.
Yeah.
That's really good. It shouldn't, because, you know, what is it going to become all proper because it's females? Like it's I'm not saying that you thought that, but no, I'm glad that Billy paid attention to that detail. It's like, you know, people are just people. You know?
Yeah.
Did you find that they ran into different problems as opposed to the Dude Bros?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, like men.
Not when I changed the characters to women, but when we started looking at casting, and I found 3 actors, because because I knew, okay, I kind of wrote in the script like, dude, I don't care what ethnicity they are, I don't care what age they are, they just got to have a chemistry. They have to have a chemistry, or it's not going to work.
God, I wish Hollywood would pay attention to chemistry. Yeah.
Well, and that's also something that when I'm sort of picking up on in terms of you say dude bros, and I'm looking more at the dude than the bros.
Well, I said that, yeah.
And so, but now if there's still a chemistry and they're likable characters traversing this hellscape, that would be interesting as long as there is some sort of bond that keeps them together.
Absolutely. And so the only time any like real tweaks had to happen is when I found the actors, and I found them because a friend of mine who's also a coworker, he does indie films on the side too. He's actually made 2 features already and already finished first draft on his 3rd. He's a real beast with churning these things out. He got these 3 women to be on one day shoot on his film, and they took a selfie, and I saw it on Instagram, and I'm like, I think those are my 3. And I just knew. And then I had them do a table read audition thing, and all it did was reaffirm this is perfect. So what I had to do was I had to tweak one of the characters to, instead of be Middle Eastern, be Asian American. And pretty much.
How did you tweak that exactly? Like you had the Middle Eastern be.
I think because they like called out what the person looked like, and that had to change.
So you couldn't use all 3. You had to get an Asian.
So no, we did use all 3 of them. We just changed the script a little bit to fit her ethnicity.
Okay.
Also, too, the character of Michelle was originally supposed to be white. So we kind of, I don't actually think we really changed much to accommodate the fact that she's actually African American / Latina.
How stoked were those girls? They're like, we just finished one movie, and then the director's buddy wants to use us as the lead characters in another movie.
I'd like to think they were pretty stoked.
Well, I mean, there's an African American, because I've watched the first, I think half, but who's good. Yeah. Good.
She's African American, part African American, part Latina.
Yeah, she's good.
It reminds
me. When I first watched when I first watched the scene where she supposedly gets shot early on in the movie, I was like, that is a shitty looking death fall. And then it made sense afterward. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, wait, come on, Billy, you could have come up with you should have said, no, sell it. But then a few minutes later, you get why. Yeah.
And I want to know what's funny. That scene was in draft 1. That scene pretty much plays exactly as it did in draft 1.
And I guess that's what I'm curious about, is just in terms of the changes that went, considering how much time went into the storytelling. I'm fascinated by the direction and creation of films, but I'm also much more interested in the writing and the development of characters. You obviously you wrote this with other people as well.
I did, and I don't bill myself as a writer, really. I brought someone in to really help make the script sing. Her name is Sage Cotton, and she took my script and just really made it sing. She really fleshed out.
She didn't like the dude bros.
She didn't have the dude bros. By the time I sent it to her, it was already 3 women. Yeah, so she never saw the dude bros.
I'm imagining like bench warmers crossing the apocalypse. Like it's Spade and Nick Swartzen. And anyway, sorry.
Well, guys, before we end the show, we're definitely going to make sure everybody can find out information about Billy's new movie. This guy's a beast. I've seen his shorts. I don't know how he has time for this stuff, but I'm very happy for you, man.
Likewise,
I'm very proud of you.
We're having a great time. This is great.
Oh, good, man. Good. Let's do some catching up with the chat, shall we? Bumpmaster 1 says Batman Begins is awesome, except for Katie Holmes.
I like Katie Holmes.
I do too. I actually like her more than the Gyllenhaal chick. Scotty, can you read this one?
I have no.
Booger. says all 4 of those movies suffered from a case of too many characters. Then you add in recasting, and they were doomed almost immediately. All of the Batman movies?
I don't know what he's talking about because there's only 3 Dark Knight movies. Booger, yeah,
we'll figure it out.
Bit of Adam West, Burt Ward in the end. The Flash, yeah,
I never saw the Flash.
The less said about that, the better. Don't give him any prequel ideas. I know, right?
The Carl Spackler, yeah.
And Kat has the link. She can join anytime she wants to hang out with us and Billy. I would watch Carl Spackler origin story. Hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but they'd have to recast. Who would they play? Who would play Bill Murray?
That's the problem. Like nobody can replace Bill Murray. Maybe back in the day, a Harlan Williams or a Jason Segel, but not anymore. What? Wait. There's no fucking way the Olsen twins are 39.
Oh yeah, no,
they are. They are.
I saw
because when they turned 18, I was like 24. So that makes sense, or 25 or 24, whatever. Holy shit!
I'm still irritated that they never showed up in the Full House reboot. Ever.
Yeah, I think they knew that it would turn into a bunch of shit about them, and they just wanted the show to be its show. I get it. And Franco Walker says hello, everyone. Ben, Franco. Scotty, and Billy. What's up, Franco? Thanks for being here, man. Yeah.
Who the fuck was Michelle in Full House? Like in the original show, what did she do except for like, you got it, dude? And then
that's the thing. As they got older, how would you even do it? Because they both played the same character, right? They weren't twins on the show. So why would they both come back?
But they don't even like in the original show, they don't have a character except for baby/toddler. And now you're gonna have to pick one or the other, or it's an inside joke for the audience to know that okay, this one's Mary Kate, oh, this one's Ashley. And then what are they gonna do? They're gonna they'll turn into Christina Applegate from Married with Children or something. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I love it. They were going to have no need to recast Bill Murray. The audience would just accept it.
Yeah, exactly. This is 19-year-old Carl Spackler. He looks like he's 70.
It's just old ass Bill Murray, like as a kid in school. Yeah, I would accept that. Sorry, Billy, I cut you off. What'd you say?
How about Michelle?
I think you said something.
Yeah,
or did they were going to? I heard a rumor they were going to possibly have Elizabeth Olsen come in and play Michelle on Fuller House. That would have been interesting. I mean, she does look just like them. That probably.
I don't think she would have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they probably already want to kill her because she got all the talent. But
yeah, whatever.
Come on.
Sorry.
The Olsen twins had an empire of dollars. They were the richest kids in the history of ever.
Based off just like kids cute bullshit. Yeah. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I want to see, like, as they made a feature length movie and it's got Eugene Levy in it. So I do want to
New York Minute. New York Minute is what it is.
They also did a bunch of TV movies I remember them doing when I was a kid.
That's what
they had like the Great Samantha Birthday Party or whatever. I made that up, but yeah.
Let's have an Olsen twins movie marathon. I'll bring popcorn and pillow fight.
Hey, I'm down.
I'm sorry, we're all drinking.
Perhaps Blue Ribbon.
Speaking of which, I gotta go grab one. I'll be back in a sec.
All right, as soon as you get back, we are going to hit the main topic, sir. So
yeah,
take your time.
Movies about the future, right?
Yeah, and this was harder than I thought. Like finding ones that either had legitimate ideas that came to fruition or like ridiculous things that didn't. And I have more that seems like they're plausible. But then I'm sure we all have one that we're probably all going to agree on that got everything wrong. And we'll wait for Scotty to talk about it. But were you able to get a list of stuff that you wanted to bring up for it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sweet. And I want to thank everybody. We got double digits watching. I appreciate you guys.
Break yourself, fool!
Yeah, those are great. Did you edit those
There's
yourself?
Yeah, I mean they're not very well edited, but yeah, I did them.
I like them.
I appreciate that. Yes, I was just being silly. Bill Murray is Bill Murray. Yes. Not sure what that's referring to, but thank you guys for being here. We much appreciate the viewership. And
I think it was because Slice Night said no need to recast Bill Murray. The audience will accept it. He's fucking Bill Murray. Is that what is he?
Yeah. That's our friend. She's on the show quite a bit, and I agree. Like, just let Bill Murray be Bill Murray. I'm going to end the poll here. Not a lot of votes, 12 votes. So, Billy, the poll was, what's your favorite movie in the Dark Knight trilogy? 75% goes to the Dark Knight. 25% goes to Batman Begins, and 0% goes to the Dark Knight Rises. That makes sense to me. The Dark Knight Rises is not a very good movie. It's very well made technically, but that story is a fucking mess. But I still enjoy it though.
I actually don't remember it, which is probably the worst insult that I could possibly give it to it. So,
Tom Hardy with the mask and all buff. Like that's it. That's the only thing that people really care about. Because But let's see here. What do we want to?
Tom Hardy. That's interesting because he was also in Star Trek Nemesis.
Yes, he was super skinny in that movie.
And a lot of people rag on that movie.
Well, it's not very good. But,
it's like Tom Hardy just show up in franchise killers. Is that what's going on here?
Maybe not because he was in Mad Max Fury Road, but I know what you're saying. Franchise killer.
Well, I don't think it's his fault. It just seems to be a bad coincidence for him.
Yeah. He maybe has a shitty agent. I don't know, or it's just happenstance. Who knows? He's a good actor though. He's in a show right now called Mobland on Paramount Plus, which is excellent. If you guys haven't seen it, Dark Knight Rises is aging like fine wine to me. A bit better each time. Yeah, to me, it's probably getting worse, Kat, because it's just the story is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And that's the first movie where Christopher Nolan really wanted the orchestral score to play so heavy and loud that you could barely hear what the people are saying. And then, of course, he did that in Interstellar. He did that in Oppenheimer. I don't know. I don't think there's a bad Christopher Nolan movie, though I haven't seen Tenet. I heard that's bad. Rises was never getting to see. Well, yeah, of course. That stupid shit they did at the end with Joseph Gordon-Levitt being Robin was ridiculous. It was really stupid.
Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong!
You know that's from Billy?
Is that Tom Green?
Yeah. That's from fucking Freddy Got Fingered.
I never actually saw the entire movie, but I knew it was Tom Green.
Yeah, you could just tell from the voice. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Scotty is back. Let's do this.
At 4:29 p.m. on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015.
2015? You mean we're in the future?
You mean we're in the future, dog?
I was going to say earlier when we were talking about this secret movie that Scotty was teasing, I was like, can I guess what letter it begins with?
Sure.
Is it a B?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that clip was totally setting me up for success on that one. Okay,
No,
well,
it's
I will shut up and let you say your thing.
it is so
Hang on.
odd that Back
I
to the
love it,
Future is not on
Hang
my
on,
list.
Scotty, 1 second. Cyrus Blackwood, Daddy, would you like some sausage? That's from Freddy Got Fingered. Sorry, that's just a great poll. Continue. Sorry.
No, oddly enough, with Back to the Future, it did not make my list. I have a short list, but yeah, I obviously, like, being the resident nerd of the Trekkie variety, like, holy shit, the things that, like, cell phones, iPads, like medical scanners. I'm gonna go Star Trek right off the hop.
Yeah, that makes sense. The movies, obviously, because we're talking movies, but I've always said, Scotty, it's the most optimistic vision of the future that you'll ever get, most likely, you know.
Yeah,
Billy, what do you, I don't know, Billy, are you Trekkie? I don't think we ever talked about that. I don't know if you are or not.
I am so diehard a Trekkie that
Nice.
where I could to hide it when we were at USC, except for that schematic of the Enterprise D that I had in my office.
Oh shit, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. It's
Um,
been a while. Yeah.
The movie I was gonna bring up was
Do it.
Star Trek First Contact.
Go for it. Let's talk about it.
Because that one takes place, well, so I mean, it's the next generation crew, so they're in the 24th century. They travel back in time to 2063, which is only 40 years away from us right now.
true.
There's
Yeah.
a lot to unpack there.
Well, and also it sort of speaks to that post-apocalyptic situation where there is a galvanization of technology to try and do something and journeying into the stars, and luckily it attracts the Vulcans. But I think that is like, I still, hopefully, when aliens arrive, if they ever do, they're not just going to be like, hey, we're here to clean you up, we're just going to get rid of you and steal the water or whatever, or be afraid of it if it's signs. But like, it will galvanize, I think, humans as, okay, we are together, and hopefully we can work together with the aliens of the hypothetical aliens. But I think that this is the weird thing when you're talking about movies that are predicting the future. It's like, that's why Back to the Future 2 didn't get into my list. It is, I was like, no hoverboards, no flying cars, no dust repellent paper. Like, this is, I don't know what it is. Like, it's, I think it's great. It's a nice contrast to something like Blade Runner. But even Blade Runner, I was like, flying cars, nope, this is not an accurate prediction. So it's strange when you talk about the ones that did best, and you see that sort of post like high-tech, low life kind of future. But then
I hate the flying cars concept. We already have them. They're called airplanes. We already have them.
Well, yeah. Like, that's the thing.
Like,
do
you put airlines out of business if your fucking car could fly? Like, who the fuck would get on a plane?
Well, airplanes would be like buses, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if the car was invented today, they would be like, no dice. Too many people are going to kill each other, which is true.
Well, two things you're hitting on, Scotty, for me. First of all, Back to the Future, the filmmakers have said they never wanted to predict the future with Back to the Future Part 2. The 2015 depicted, they came up with that just because they wanted to do what was going to be funny. They did not want to predict what was going to come true. You know, all that was just storytelling, which I actually really think is a testament to why Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale are really damn good filmmakers, because they're thinking about the storytelling. They're not trying to think about predicting the future accurately. And those movies have held up so well that of all the franchises I have tried to get my kids into that I grew up loving, Back to the Future has resonated the most. They love those movies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said about that. And, you know, they're like, wait a minute, it's 2015. We don't have any of that stuff. And I'm like, and yeah.
But that's even sort of like, and they did this with Rogue One, and they did this with Blade Runner 2049, and they did it with Alien Romulus. is that when they sort of made these sequels that are sort of surpassing the technology that was made in the initial one, whether it be 1979, 1984, what have you, and they are like, we're making a sequel to the future that we designed back then. And so it is consistent with how the future would roll out. And it's not, there's still push buttons. There's no touch screens. There's no hologram interface.
Did you guys like my miming act right there?
Scott, that was good.
Let me know that I was fucking muted like an amateur.
I still do it after 5 years of working on it. I do it.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Scotty.
But Scotty, yeah, there you go.
You know what? Maybe we should all have a conversation on mute and see if we can figure out. No, we won't.
All right.
We'll get the lip readers out.
Well, Scotty, the other thing you said about Star Trek First Contact and aliens making contact with us, there was an interesting theory that I saw on one of the many Star Trek Facebook groups I belong to, that probably the reason why we have not officially met aliens yet is because we are being first contacted.
Oh.
What I mean by that, for those that don't know Star Trek, is that in the Star Trek franchise, in the future, when it's Starfleet and the Star Trek characters are doing their thing, and they meet new primitive species, they go through a process like, hey, is this planet ready to meet us yet? Are they ready to possibly join our federation? And we are being evaluated for the same thing, and we're not fucking ready. And that's why we haven't met any aliens, because they're watching us and like, nope. They're not ready yet. They're too fucking primitive. And I totally agree with them, because we're fucking fighting over,
especially right now.
Bullshit right now. And
especially right now. Not a good idea.
Well, and that's an episode of the Next
Maybe
Generation
land in Jamaica.
First Contact. and the leader of the world says, it's like, no, I don't think we're ready. I don't think we're ready.
I don't think.
Kat says Cubs winning the World Series and Back to the Future 2 1 year before they actually won it. Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting. Bobak, my boy, we drink your cinema.
Bobak.
Thanks, buddy. John Dog, what's up? I watched Blazing Saddles today.
Nice.
That movie is so fucking great. Spaceballs 2, yo, it's coming. It's coming.
I just watched that with my kids. They thought it was pretty funny, but they don't want to watch it again.
It's great. Spaceballs is good because kids can watch it, but all the like sexual innuendos and stuff like that just go right over their head. Yeah. And there's a lot of them, but yeah. Scotty, you and because you guys, I'm so happy you guys met, because Scotty does a show on a channel called Anti-Derivative Jill, where they are Trekkies like you've never met before. You should talk to Billy and have him on.
Yeah,
well,
man.
The good news is I can talk about other films set in the future. They're not Star Trek. So
yeah,
no, I know. Yeah. But it's cool that you know that you're Trekkie though, man. Shit.
Yeah,
I had to lead with my first
really quick the fact that Star Trek First Contact, they travel back in time to 2063. That's 40 years from now. Like I said, there's a lot to unpack there, and it is an optimistic vision of our future. And I will say, without going into too much detail, because I don't want to depress anybody, but a lot of the things that Star Trek predicted about the 21st century have come true.
Yeah.
But the good news about that is that by 2063, we're really going to start seeing some real change, and things are really going to be awesome after that.
Can't wait. Oh wait, I'll be dead.
I'll be 80. Well, yeah. If we survive World War III, we'll be 80, 90, whatever. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Thanks. I needed that.
Dude, talk about a movie I love. I had John Belushi poster in my office for years.
I did too. I not in my office. I had it as a kid.
I have it in my garage,
in my bedroom. Yeah, and
I totally get. I'm liberal. I'm all about DEI, but I'm not taking my fucking John Belushi poster down.
Well, I don't think he was like anything. All he wanted to do was drink and party. I don't think he was You're fine to leave that up. You're fine.
No, I mean the movie. It had, you know.
Well, it did take place in the 60s.
He was a peeping Tom.
Yeah. Oh my God, the shirt, the college shirt was the greatest because when they talk about Blukowski, 0.0 grade point average. Like, why the fuck is he still there? He doesn't go to any class.
So you mentioned War of the Worlds, Ben.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, there was a series about the War of the Worlds. It was a sequel to the 1953 George Powell War of the Worlds, and it has the principal or the dean from Animal House.
Dean Wormer?
Yeah.
Dean Wormer?
as a military general.
Vernon.
I actually had
Vernon?
no, it was
Yeah.
Dean Wormer. Dean Wormer.
No, the actor's name.
Oh,
Vernon.
sorry. Yeah, I can't remember.
I thought Vernon was the one from the Breakfast Club.
No, oh no,
No, he's talking about it. Yeah.
That's the same guy from
Hey,
Die
Franco
Hard.
Walker, thank you for being here. Have a good night, my friend.
See you, Franco.
Take care, everyone. Much love to you all. Much love to you too, my friend.
Absolutely. No, what I forget the guy's name, but no, that would the
You're talking about Principal fucking Skinner or whatever the fuck it was. Principal. Yeah, I know what you're saying. From Breakfast Club.
It was
Dwayne T. Robinson from Die Hard.
The actor? I thought it was Gleason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
I'm
something
looking it up
Paul
right now.
Gleason. Paul
I'm
Gleason.
looking it up.
Paul Gleason.
Oh,
yeah.
Principal Richard Vernon was his
Richard Vernon.
Richard Vernon was his character name.
Oh, okay.
His real name was, I think you just said it,
Paul
Billy, right?
Gleason.
Yeah, and just speaking of the Breakfast Club, there's some John Hughes references in my film, so you can look forward to that.
What should I be looking for? Like what kind of well, it doesn't take place in Chicago.
Did you license the rights to Don't You Forget About Me?
When you watch the film, you will know.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, I'm halfway done. I just have to and I apologize. I was trying to watch the whole thing before he did this. I just didn't have fucking time. But
well, and there is going to be a live event. When is the live the release?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the film is premiering in the. Sorry, I can't talk.
Billy? Can you send me the link so I can put it in the chat so people can pick up on it while you tell us? Sorry.
Yeah. So the film is premiering in the Marina Del Rey Film Festival, which takes place in Culver City this year at the Culver Theater on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, June 24th.
Lovely.
And it's playing at 4:00. And yeah, tickets are like $17-18. Go to the website, click on buy tickets, and if you're in the LA area next week, come check it out. And I'd love to meet you.
He's a creative guy, and he's a good guy. Scotty, Billy, we have a thing. If you can see it on the right-hand side called the private chat, can you put it in there instead?
Yeah.
And that way it'll be a little bit easier. Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, this dude's been making movies and been making me look like an asshole because I'm so late to the game. But he's actually doing it. He made an hour.
Show. I don't have a YouTube. I mean, I have a YouTube show I do with my son, but nothing like this. This is cool.
Yeah, but dude, you made a fucking movie, man.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see if I can.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm gonna throw that in the chat.
It's that old thing about like TV versus film. Like you're a filmmaker and we're YouTube hosts. So
Yeah, and I'd say too, what's crazy in this day and age of YouTube shows and streaming services and TikTok and all this stuff, there is still a magic to saying, "Hey, we're making a movie."
Yeah,
and I listen to Victory, the podcast, is that podcast where they rewatch Entourage, and the guys from Entourage are on there, and the creator, and they had these social media influencers on there once back during the Couve, and you know, I don't remember who the social media influencers were, but they're pretty well successful, like millions of views. They're making money doing it, like good money. And they're like, well, what's next for you? And they're like, dude, I want to be in a movie. And I'm like, that says everything.
Can you act?
but I don't know. I don't know who these people are, but just the fact that that's the goal still for people, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the thing we got to hold on to. Regardless
agree.
of whether you're a filmmaker or a film fan, no matter what we got laptops, we've got this thing, we've got YouTube. There is a magic about movies that I don't think will ever go away.
I don't think so either. And we got to preserve the theater, because to me, that's the only way to actually be enveloped into a story and the visuals. And it's fine to, dude, I'm like you, Billy and Scotty. I'll watch stuff that I didn't get to see in theaters on my screen, and it's nice and it's fun. But the fact that I have to pause it to take a piss, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's great because my bladder sucks these days. But when you prep yourself for a theater going experience, there's nothing like it. You're just there, and everything else is darkness. You know,
Yeah.
It's amazing. I agree.
Absolutely. And that's actually why cinema advertising is a good way for advertisers to go. There's a whole industry behind doing those ads that you see before movies play, because they understand that when you're in a theater, you're dialed into that screen. You're not going to check your phone. You're not going to get distracted. So,
can't you tell from this guy's voice that he could easily sell you a vacuum on a commercial? It's just, dude, every time we talk to Billy at USC, I'm like, he's got that voice. Like, I wish I had that voice.
I never got a career in voiceover. I tried to when we were at USC, Ben, but man, is it hard to break into. But
I gave you $50.
I do. Yeah, you did. And I was so, that's one of the reasons why I was so thankful. I was trying to get a career as a voiceover person.
You were great in that. You were great in that commercial.
Well, I voiced a lot of videos in this current job, and I voiced a lot of videos when I was at the Wall Street Journal. So
nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys want?
There's a bit of a, and this actually dovetails into one of my movies that have accurately predicted the future.
Do it, Scotty.
Nowadays with voice artists and voiceover performers, there's a lot of AI. Like, it's been in the news, people talking about what I think the video game voiceover artists are still in the midst of sort of sorting this out in terms of being able to take AI recreations of their voices and just use them in perpetuity. But one of the ones that I was surprised that wasn't on any of the lists is Sim 1 with Al Pacino, where he creates a virtual star.
You mean Simone? I think that's called Simone, right?
It could be called Simone. It is.
No, I know what you're talking about. He builds a beautiful woman, but I think they advertised it as being called Simone. But
could be. I still call it Sim 1 because it's the play on the words, and it is an AI influencer, if you will. And the big thing about the movie, the conflict of it is how do we hide the fact that she's a completely digital creation? And then even Al Pacino's character starts to fall in love with the AI creation. And I think that's an incredible sort of foresight into something, because that was made in what, like early 2000s, late 90s, maybe early 2000s, 2004. And
yes, you did, Protein. 2002. Yes, you did.
2002.
Sorry,
and absolutely full.
Sorry, guys. My buddy did meet Billy at not at my wedding, but at the wedding after party. So yeah, he remembers you.
Yeah, that's great. No, I remember the after party. I remember it clear as day. I don't remember who I talked to though, because I was drinking a lot of beers, but I remember the
venue. Be a good after party if you remembered it.
I remember it was by the beach.
Yeah, I was in San Clemente. Yeah. Anyway, Sorry. Just I had to bring that up. That was cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's my boy. My boy. It's like, I remember Billy. He's awesome. Yeah, Simone. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're already there. Like, did you guys see the movie Companion that came out at the very beginning of this year?
Oh,
it's basically like you rent a fully formed female that has AI and organs, and her entire body is real, but she's not real. She's an AI robot, and creepy dudes buy them or rent them for things that are not so great, but and then one of them becomes very self-aware and decides to like kill everybody that's fucked with her. It's a good movie actually, but
and there's another one like what, Megan, and then there was another one. I haven't seen it. I'm aware of it, but that's just sort of like an updated version of Child's Play.
iRobot was not a good movie, but it was kind of ahead of its time. Like all those they even are modeling robots nowadays after the look that Alex Proyas, and I hated that Alex Proyas made that movie because he did The Crow and Dark City. It sucks that he made iRobot, but paychecks are paychecks.
Speaking of films that I don't want to say it was a bad movie, I enjoyed it, but it did get a lot of flack and a lot of people hate it. The movie AI from Steven Spielberg.
I love that movie. I love that movie, actually.
I love it too. I
think that movie is so interesting, and it's deep. Well, that was the Spielberg movie that he took over for Kubrick.
Yeah,
right.
I know the whole backstory about that, which a lot of people go wrong, and I've talked about this on another friend's podcast, like way back in our USC days, Ben. Yeah, I it's really too bad that AI wasn't more successful than it was. I really enjoyed it, and I thought that
I loved it, man.
Great. Yeah, and it's just too bad that so many people rag on it. But one of our viewers said, "Aged like fine wine." I hope that's a film that has aged like fine wine. I should watch it again and see what I think of it, especially in this day and age where we have.
Honestly, Billy, I think it has, because more people talk good about it nowadays, like we are doing right now.
Good.
So I think it has gotten kind of a second life, kind of a defibrillator boost, because a lot of people do like it and appreciate it for what it is, especially Haley Joel Osment's performance and Jude Law's performance. Yeah. I still don't completely like the ending, but I never liked the ending, but I get it. I think
that's what ruined the film for a lot of people, was the ending. So, yeah.
It didn't ruin it for me. I still love it, but yeah.
AI is such an interesting movie because, as you said, it was a collaboration between Spielberg and Kubrick. But also, it's almost like watching a great guitar player do a cover song of another great guitar player's song.
Yeah, I've heard that.
There are shots, there is cinematography, there's framing, there are acting choices, and I think that the ending is, don't make a happy ending. You are making a Kubrick movie. And I think that because of the reverence from Spielberg,
you're stuck at the bottom of the ocean.
Like I think it really lands to the point that I kind of consider it like a hybrid Kubrick movie. So when I have my Kubrick box set and AI is on that pile of Kubrick movies. I
think what a lot of people don't know is how much Kubrick blessed Spielberg to direct it his way. The whole backstory was that it was going to be like Kubrick was friends with Spielberg, and he's like, check it out, Steven. This is what it would be. A Stanley Kubrick production of a Steven Spielberg film. And that's what the partnership was supposed to be. But then Kubrick died, and who knows.
Well, and then Spielberg does what Spielberg does.
It feels a lot like both of them. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but he, like, Spielberg did sort of emotionally infuse the film, which is what Spielberg does. I think getting to another one, I think Minority Report is something that is frightening in terms of its prescience.
Yeah.
But also those two movies, when we're talking about AI and Minority Report, they're based on stories by prolific science fiction authors. So you've got Isaac Asimov and Philip K. Dick.
And it's funny you bring
Yes.
up Minority Report because we talk about films that take place in the future, what has come true, what hasn't. You know, we talked about Back to the Future 2. We've talked about Star Trek First Contact. Minority Report is interesting because it does suggest some type of notion of precognition. As far as I know, that does not exist yet, unless there's something.
And it probably won't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like
This
predictive
whole
AI.
the whole concept of time travel or seeing into the future doesn't exist. But yeah, I mean, I guess AI can predict the future, but I've never tested it.
Well, I actually had Minority Report on my list because though I don't think the concept or the idea of precognition will ever come to fruition, I do think there will be some sort of tech that can detect someone who may commit a crime before they do it. So I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility. I just don't think it's going to be from some chosen people that go in a pool. I love the movie for that, but I think it'll be kind of like the way the Winter Soldier did it, where it's like figures out like who might be someone that would commit something, even though I don't think that would be accurate. I think they would be arresting people that didn't do anything wrong, but I don't find that out of the realm of possibility. And obviously from this image, you can tell we already kind of have that shit where you move things around with your hands and, you're blowing things out of the way and stuff like that. But,
yeah, they got that part right.
Yeah. So basically, I agree with Billy. I think there'll be something like that.
I remember hearing a story about a father who started getting targeted emails saying, "Oh, you're about to be a grandfather," and he was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And there were directed ads based on Google searches that were done from their IP address, and the daughter ended up she had been checking out things to she needed a birth control and she wanted to get this kind of supplement and everything like that. And then because of the IP address, it was revealed that the daughter was pregnant before the daughter even really knew that they were pregnant. And then it got spread to the IP, from their their email. And it was like, what is going on? And so he got really mad at Target for all of these targeted ads. And it was and then the daughter said, "Oh yeah, no, by the way, Dad, sorry, coitus." and that was something. Now, not to equate, teenage pregnancy with pre-crime, but considering what else is in Minority Report with Tom Cruise wandering around and getting retinally scanned and being like, "Oh, you need pants," and things like that when he's walking through the mall, that is something that is to a variation occurring now.
Yeah.
I could tell you right now, the most realistic thing about that portrayal of the future is that when he goes to get his eyes done and he opens that refrigerator, that's my refrigerator in the next 2 weeks. Just saying.
That's my refrigerator too, because I have kids that don't clean up after
that fucking scene is so masterfully directed and edited. When those little spiders are coming in.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That is Spielberg at his finest, just being a storyteller and fucking with you. And yeah, like him or hate him, he knows what he's doing.
My only complaint with that movie is I had such high hopes for it, and I don't use this very often derogatorily, but it got Spielberged up because there were a couple of moments of levity that felt out of place in the oppressive world that was being presented. And especially being a Philip K. Dick fan, I was like, do we need the... It was chasing the eyeball, and it was also the fight in the apartment where the drones show up, and then they pause the fight, and then they go back to their domestic. And I was like, this is too sitcom for this.
I forgot
Those are
about
some of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah, well, your mileage may vary. I apologize.
Well, this is why appreciating film and art is such a subjective thing. Everyone's got their...
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm just glad you guys
100%, dude.
I'm just glad you guys like the film AI. I thought I was going to be the only person championing it here.
No.
Oh my
that's
God.
great.
Minority Report started the Spielberg very short-lived era of really muted colors and bringing in more grays and blacks. And it was followed up obviously by War of the Worlds, which, if you watch the original, it's Technicolor. It's insane. It's blasting with colors. And he wanted to mute it because it made the whole thing more dour and scary and dreadful. And I think he did one more after that where it was sort of muted. It was sort of muted, but Minority Report was the first very different looking Spielberg movie. And then War of the Worlds kind of followed that up. But I liked it, and I thought it worked for Minority Report very well. Like it made sense to, because it wasn't like a dystopian future. It was a very realistic future, but it was also like, you know, the themes and the plot were kind of thrown into the cinematography and the color. So I appreciated that.
Was Munich the film you're trying to bring up that had that same muted look? Munich?
Which one?
Oh,
Munich. Yes. There you go.
Holy,
there you go. Yeah, Munich.
You know
Yeah.
what? I've
Not a
never
science
seen-
fiction. But yeah.
I've never seen Munich. I have to.
It was also
It's been
interesting
on my
that
list
Steven
for a while.
Spielberg.
Munich's awesome, man.
It's very interesting that Steven Spielberg did War of the Worlds, because War of the Worlds promotes the idea that aliens are not going to be our friends, where he is known for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., where he's suggesting they will be our friends. So yeah,
I think that's why he wanted to do it. Because I have the vinyl of the original Orson Welles radio announcement.
Oh wow!
Of War of the World, where people thought it was real, and I think Spielberg always kind of wanted to bring that story to life. Why he did it in the muted colors, I appreciate that, but I'm not exactly sure why. But I think it's because, well, no, I already said why, because he wanted it to feel dark and dour and hopeless. And that movie really is, it's hardly a summer blockbuster because it's like devastating. like motherfuckers are just getting fried. And then the tripods make this really creepy noise when they're about to fuck shit up. Like, I kind of fucking love that movie, but I know not everybody does. But
well,
I haven't seen it.
I was a huge fan of the 1953 George Powell.
Yes, so was I. And at least they both end the
Yeah.
exact same way.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just, you know, the environment. Ugh, you know.
Right. The Technicolor thing you mentioned, that was just the hot thing in the 50s. So, you know,
I haven't seen the Spielberg
for sure.
War of the Worlds.
Well, because
in a
it
while,
was
but
absolutely.
sometimes I
You
just
freeze,
stop
Scotty?
talking and stop moving, and then people are like, "Are you frozen?"
I knew you
And
didn't
I'm like,
freeze,
"Nah,
dude.
I'm just,
I saw you
I'm just gonna
twitching,
stop."
motherfucker.
You got to keep up. No, but it's been a while since I've seen the War of the Worlds, but I think that also, like, it was the spectacle of the George Powell War of the Worlds that was like the pew, 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 pew. Like all of that jazz was to make it so it was Alien. I liked the over the top science fiction invasion movie. In fact, I just watched Mars Attacks the other day. And that's so like colorful and pew 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 pew. It's great. But yeah, no,
Well, Mars Attacks is definitely taking a picture out of that book. Yeah.
Mm.
But Billy, here it is.
Nice.
Look at this vinyl. As
Very
soon as he
cool.
stops, oh, I love it. He's just
Very
chugging.
cool.
I'll let you know when I'm done chugging.
No, that's very
It's
cool.
the original, man. It's an original
Wow.
pressing.
So that
Wow.
TV
Invasion from
version of War of the Worlds I talked to you about, they actually addressed that into, like, they kind of came up with a War of the Worlds canon. There was 2 seasons of that show. It was pretty cool. It's too bad it didn't last longer.
Is that recent, or was it like in the 80s or 90s?
It was in the late 80s.
Okay.
It was like the 35th anniversary of the 1953 version of War of the Worlds. And so they actually did a sequel to that where a kid that was taken in by the main character of the 1953 film grows up to be a scientist. The aliens come back, and they have the same warships, not the tripods, because they couldn't do the tripods. They didn't have the
but like the almost like the crab shell with
the ones that look like manta rays. Yeah, but they have those in there, and so they brought those back, and so yeah, it was a show, and they actually take that radio recording, Ben, and bring it into the War of the Worlds canon about how
I'm surprised that Spielberg didn't do that, but I think he wanted to go for very realistic, very nowadays. If you threw that old sound in there, it might throw it off. So
like I compare War of the Worlds with Cloverfield simply because Cloverfield was advertised to me as, what if all of the normal people were the focus of a Godzilla movie, like the running masses?
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. And then I went to go see it, and I was like, "Well, this makes
there's no people
Godzilla
in lab
movie.
coats and shit."
It didn't connect with me. But when like with War of the Worlds, it was like, everybody's running, and then there's that beautiful like front line battle, and it's just like, oh no, we're fucked. And like that, I did appreciate the point of view character through Tom Cruise, as opposed to the whatever found footage nonsense Cloverfield was.
I like Cloverfield, but I do agree with you. The Tom Cruise point of view of Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds was fantastic, especially the scene where they're hiding in that house and the tripods are out there and they're surrounded and everything. And yeah, no, it's all good stuff. But yeah, to take it back to films about the future, we still haven't talked about Terminator, which I'm surprised has not come up.
Well, explain yourself, sir. Why do you think that that's an accurate representation of the future?
I don't think it's an accurate representation of the future, but when we talk about AI, the number one thing that I keep hearing coming up, aside from, oh wait, AI is going to steal my job, is, and I heard this from my friend Aaron Coscarelli's interviews. I've heard this from other friends from USC Annenberg's interviews. The number one thing they say is like, is AI going to turn into Skynet and blow us up and turn into Terminators? And that's always the number one fear before it turned into AI is going to steal my job. So that's why I'm surprised we're not talking about the Terminator franchise, especially, because Christopher Nolan Christian Bale was in one of those movies, of course. So,
of course.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Do you mean this Christian Bale?
You'll be in a padded cell forever. He's a paranoid.
Mick G's vision of John Connor.
Hey. I don't know. I would have liked to see the continuation of the Terminator Salvation timeline, but whatever.
I would have liked to seen it. I would have liked to seen a second movie for sure.
Yeah.
It just didn't do well enough for them.
I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was all right. I don't know why people ragged on it so much.
I think that there were two main reasons for Terminator Salvation.
I liked it.
I think that it got beat up for two reasons. One, it was the CGI Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can't have a Terminator movie without Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was governor at the time. And then also,
Yeah, they shouldn't have done that.
And there was no time travel. It was the only Terminator movie without time travel. But the plan was
that was the point.
They were going to build up to that. They were they were setting a course. As my producer on the Phantasmagorium says, Terminator Salvation was setting a table in the future world, the future war, and yeah, we never got to the time travel machine, and so it was intended to go forward. I don't have any animosity towards Salvation, but I also think it's somewhat generic. It's almost, it reminds, you ever see the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Cyborg?
That's the problem.
Like, it's almost like...
Well, Cyborg was made because they weren't going to make a He-Man Part 2. So they used all the sets and the budget of that, and they made Cyborg, which is very generic. I agree, Scotty. Like, that's the thing. It's very generic, Salvation. It could have been extraordinary, but problem is you really needed James Cameron to explore that world because he's the one that created the future and the blues and the silvers and all the colors that he used in that world. And then when you get to McGee's version, it's just like sand and muted, and it doesn't look the same. And I think people took notice of that because they were expecting those flashback scenes that you see from Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and it just didn't look like the same world. That's my opinion. So
I met Mick G once. Sorry to name drop, but he's
I want to hear this story.
Cool guy. Well, I didn't talk.
I love the pause, and then I met Mick G.
My question to him is, did he think there'd ever be a reboot of
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. How was he? Was he a cool?
He was great. He was great.
Was he a cool dude or what?
Super cool. Absolutely cool.
He
my
made some
question,
greatest music video of all time, actually.
Well, yeah, his number one thing he kept on saying over and over again is the reason why he got his job being a film director is because he makes women look good on camera.
Hence Charlie's Angels.
Right.
Which is great, by the way. I'm not even knocking it.
I remember when I was in college when that film came out, even like, girls that I know.
Those movies are a blast.
They didn't want to watch it. They went and saw it, and they're like, dude, I loved it. It was so fun.
Yeah.
And
they're just like dumb fun. Yeah, for sure.
Right. But no, my question to him was not about Terminator. It was about the OC. I was like, do you ever think there will be an OC reboot? Yeah.
Oh, Billy.
He's like,
Billy,
I don't get a lot of questions about the OC. Like,
Billy, he was cool about it. He said, like, I don't really think there's a lot of interest in that. I mean, do you? And I'm like, yeah, I guess not. But then during the Cove, the Cove,
sure,
there was a podcast and it totally had a revival because of the streaming services it's on. But anyway, I digress. Back to Terminator because we're talking about future films.
Well, hold on, Billy.
No.
I can tell you as a native of the OC,
yeah,
we never liked that show anyway because they filmed it in the Hollywood Hills, not in Orange County.
Yeah,
so it never really felt like Orange County.
They filmed it in Malibu, Redondo Beach.
Yeah. So we don't give a fucking shit if that comes back because it did not really represent Orange County. If they shot in San Clemente, Huntington Beach,
there was
that would have been
one time they filmed in Orange County. They filmed at a golf course in Huntington Beach. But it was
which could have been any golf course.
But but the setting was Palm Springs. So the one time they filmed in the OC, it was Palm Springs. Isn't that great?
Billy. So I met Terry Farrell, famously Lieutenant Dax from Deep Space Nine, and
Becker.
See, you are way ahead of me. So anyway, I went to a convention. I stood in line. We were having a conversation. I had bought a small balsam box that I intended to put my weed in, And I said, can you sign I asked her some Star Trek questions, like, why weren't you in the montage at the last episode of Deep Space Nine? And she was like, ask the producers. And I was like, can you sign my box? And she was like, I would be happy to sign your box. And I said, that sounds dirty. And then she said, well, that's only because you're making it dirty. And I said, you know what? One of my favorite things that you've ever been in is Becker. Can you talk about what it was like working with Ted Danson? And she lit up like a $3 light bulb. And like, it was amazing. And we had a conversation. There were people in line. Someone pulled out a disposable camera and took a picture. She stood up and said, this is a private conversation. And then she sat down and said, sorry about that. And I was like, oh, I understand. You got to protect your privacy. So and we had a lovely conversation. It lasted like 5-7 minutes. And then I walked away and she said, you know what? You remind me of Tom Bergeron. And I was like, is that a good thing? And she said, well, he's hot. And I was like, hot damn, Terry Farrell moment.
I could see that. Yeah. Where was this?
Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah, it's probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah, he's a Canadian. He's from Canada. Yeah.
Nice. Well, dude, Hollywood's freaking moving up there anyway, so great.
So, guys, I put a new poll out. What's the more accurate portrayal of the future, Back to the Future 2 or Idiocracy?
Idiocracy.
I would have to go with Idiocracy, to be honest with you. But
absolutely. Oh, what's the Herman? What's his name? Not Luke Wilson. I forget.
Are you talking about Justin Long?
No, not Justin Long. It's the guy who Luke Wilson shows up and it's like, why you talk all? Am I allowed to say retarded and shit?
Yeah, I say retarded. It's fine. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No. So like, yeah, and it's I forget his name. He was in Office Space as well.
Milton?
No.
Milton
He was the guy who actually Michael Bolton.
Oh,
that actor is.
I
think his
David
last
Herman.
name is Herman.
Yeah. Also had a
David Herman is.
Also had a great cameo in Dude, Where's My Car?
Nice.
Where they're slapping his belly.
Booger gets it.
He was on Mad TV.
Oh no, he's always been a great.
Do you guys mind if I throw out a couple of movies?
Not at all.
So for future movies. So these are some ones that there's elements of them that could possibly happen. And this first one I'm going to show, this phrase has never been more prominent than it is right now. Big Brother is watching.
Oh, dude.
Wow.
I never actually saw the movie, but I've read the book and yeah.
Well, I didn't know what the book or movie was until my junior year of high school. We did a play because I was a stage manager in high school for plays, and we went crazy in 1995, and we did 1984 the play.
Cool.
And
really cool.
And after that, I became like a George Orwell fanatic. I read his. It's not an autobiography because he didn't write it, but I read his biography. Got really deep into some of the shit he did, and that brought me into Joseph Conrad's stuff. And Joseph Conrad's one of the greatest writers of all time. Heart of Darkness, Lonesome Jim, a bunch of good shit. Lord Jim, sorry. But 1984 is happening now. People are watching what we do. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It's just a fact. Like if I turn on my Netflix and I put on like WWE, next time I go to my Instagram, there's WWE shit on there. You know, it's insane. It's insane.
Every time I go to my Instagram,
next thing I'm gonna go with
nothing but porn stars.
Yeah.
It's only because of where I'm tapping.
Well, yeah. So my version of the surveillance is, being a parent in a very small community of 3 kids. I feel like anything I do that looks bad, the optics are bad. If I yell at my kids, if I spank my kids, if I discipline my kids too harshly, it's going to wind up on Nextdoor. And then I'm shamed by the community. So yeah, the Orwellian stuff, we're doing it to ourselves. It's crazy.
Well, what is the slogan? See something, say something, and then everybody has their phone.
And better yet, do something. Yeah.
Right.
And then,
and I think 1984 is interesting because we can talk about it as a film that takes place in the future, even though 1984 was.
Well, no, but that's the thing. It was written in the 50s. It was written in the 50s. And then even in 1995, when we did the play at my high school, it just seemed so far-fetched. It was like sci-fi fantasy. And like you fast forward to 2021 even, and it's like, oh shit. Like they're not stopping you from doing things. They're not enslaving you, but they are watching you,
Right.
It's kind of crazy. They're not watching you like physically go to sleep or jerk off or feed your dog, but
No.
they're watching they're watching your patterns. They're studying your patterns and stuff,
Yes.
which is just as creepy. So next, we already talked about Star Trek. We already talked Back to the Future. The Matrix. The Matrix is. I don't see this happening anytime soon, but I see it happening at some point. I would say in the next 500 years, we're going to be used as batteries, and that's fine. My favorite depiction of the future of all time is Her. The 2013 Spike Jones movie.
Yeah.
I actually asked.
It's probably the most.
What ChatGPT thinks of Her.
Oh, and so did
it's
Chat
probably
GPT
the
fall
most
in love?
It's the most accurate. It's so, but again, it's taking place not too far in the future where it knows what we're going to be thinking and doing. But the fact that a lonely human being would fall in love with an AI, very realistic, probably is already happening,
Yeah.
And just what's his name? I want to say Keanu Reeves, not Keanu Reeves, fucking Joaquin Phoenix. He's
Philip
just
Seymour
so
Hoffman.
fucking good in this movie. No,
Honestly, the scariest thing.
Joaquin Phoenix is acting against nothing this whole movie. He's got an earbud in. He's so fucking good.
Yeah.
And everything from the beginning of the movie where it's like you're plugging yourself into a game and hanging out and just well, you know what? If you're really lonely, you can meet this, AI thing or whatever. And Scarlett Johansson's voiceover is so convincing and wonderful, and the whole movie is so heartbreaking at the end because it shows that you could really fall in love with something that's not actually birthed or real, I love that movie so much. Her. So
and the only thing that scared me about that movie is are we all going to have mustaches like this when AI reaches that level?
Why does the future always depict human men with mustaches?
I love it. I love it that that's what you got out of it.
No, I got a lot out of that film, but that's the one.
I love it. That's what Billy got at. Are we all gonna have mustaches like that? God, I hope not.
Not the only thing I got out of that film is just the one thing that scares me about that film, and also the
Well, you are free to have a mustache or not have a mustache, Billy.
I know, but I don't.
I've never seen you with a mustache.
I tried it. I tried it for a split second. I did my best Milo Ventimiglia impersonation from This Is Us, and then I shaved it off.
Yeah, no, I'm
Dude,
Nicolas
it's-
Cage from the beginning of Face Off, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
As soon as Hall and Oates got into their 70s, mustaches disappeared forever. You know, just stay away from mustaches.
Well, dude, I think Booger 414 has a mustache because he says all of those with us, because those of us with mustaches are inherently cooler.
Who do you think you are, Sam Elliott? Mustache rides, 5 cents.
Do you guys know this guy or girl?
Oh yeah, no, I know Booger.
Well, no, it's
Booger's
just
cool.
one of the people that hang out on the chat.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Scotty, read this one, por favor.
Or as they say in Night Vale, if you are something, say nothing and drink to forget. That's a good point.
That is a good point. I agree with
Where's
that.
Night Vale? I should go there.
Oh, you know what? I have a couple more, and these ones are just really quick. But one of the greatest depictions of the future is RoboCop, just based on how Detroit looks.
Oh,
no, just
I
on
thought
how
you were gonna
Detroit
talk about the
looks.
media satire.
Well, the media as well, but like Detroit is just a fucking cesspool, and that movie pretty much plays that pretty well off the bat. And then obviously, guys, if you have ever, well, I know Scotty, LA.
What?
I think you've been to LA once.
No, I've never been to Los Angeles. Never.
So they now have self-driving cars, and they're
nice.
crashing into each other like crazy. They need to get rid of this shit. But Total Recall did have the Johnny Cab. So,
oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's true.
so the Johnny Cab, even though that's like a weird-looking, super creepy person that's driving you around, that if you get the address wrong, it like blows up the car or whatever. You know, you still have that.
It's been a while since I've seen
12 Monkeys predicted the coup. Predicted the coup.
Exactly.
Yeah, predicted the fucking coup, you know? So, and then these are ones I don't have a lot to say about, but like you have like Time Runner, The Purge, Geostorm. I don't know what Hell Baby is, but No Escape is awesome. And then apparently there's a Lando Calrissian movie called Alien Intruder. So
You know, Glenn, you know what's funny about The Purge? I was watching that documentary that Apple TV put out about, you know, they call it the world, the when the world changed. It was about how the coup, you know, we went into lockdown. They showed all the animals coming out and hanging out in our cities, and you know, it's like humpback whales were, you know, communicating in different ways because there was no noise from the sea traffic and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, what if we did like something where every so often we just went on lockdown just so animals do their thing?
Well, just so the environment doesn't get so much smog and
that too. But then I'm like, dude, but I also was like, but that sounds a lot like The Purge, and I don't know if that's gonna fly.
Well, that's the thing. You'd have to give people something to be excited about and entertained by. So you'd have to be like, well, everybody stay at home for I don't know, 4 weeks, but the looters and rioters can come up to your house and we're not going to arrest anybody. No. Fuck that.
Yeah, they'd have to do it some way where it doesn't just completely crash the economy and make people lose their jobs.
Well, there was something.
I am not Sam Elliott cool, but there's always time.
Well, yeah, you got to grade that mustache.
I want to see your mustache, Booger. I want to see that mustache, brother.
You say it's impressive, so I can't wait. Hit me up in the DMs, and I will pay you a nickel for a mustache ride. No, but the thing is, and this is so strange, is that like, given the evidence of the lockdowns, and like they were talking about whales coming up the St. Lawrence River in Canada, and one of the things that it reminded me of, it was like when recent war times, you hear about World War II, and it was like we all have to ration, we have to reel in our desires and give more to the war effort. And if you did that for, environmentalism, and it's like, instead of Earth Day, it's like Earth Week. And it's like, okay, so no oil tankers for a week. And everyone would lose their minds. Like, it would be insane to have that kind of restriction. But when you hear stories about World War II, or like there were wartime rationing and restrictions to try and make it so that our boys would make it. And it's like, well, we're all trying to make it, so can we have like a long weekend where we just everybody stop and that's it? And it would do advantageous things. Maybe maybe that just sounds like a bunch of commie gobbledygook.
Well, no, and I'd personally would be fine with something like that as long as there was an end in sight. What was so terrible about the coup is that we had no idea when things were going to go back to normal.
I know.
Yeah.
You know what? I played so much Fallout. I was so happy. The marijuana industry was booming.
I was editing corporate videos.
Yeah,
I had my youngest son sitting in my lap. That was my Couve experience. Just constantly working while I had a baby sitting in my lap.
That was probably the strongest era for my YouTube channel, because even though I did have to go to work every day, because that didn't affect where I work, but I was editing so many fucking videos and doing research and that's where Film and Vinyl came from, was the Couth. So I was doing shitloads of stuff.
Yeah, man, my entire life was like grandma's boy for about a year.
Just playing the games and
just playing video games, smoking weed, and jerking off. To Barbie dolls. Anyway, I just recently saw that. It's hilarious.
I think the main thing that I keep thinking about when I'm driving around or just daydreaming, which I do a lot of, especially because I'm a storyteller type person, is that a lot of these movies that predicted the future back in the day and predicted what things are going to look like right now, I don't think they had any concept of what this was going to look like. I mean, there were some things they got right, but I don't know if they really grasped what something like a pandemic was going to look like, in terms of it wasn't going to be like, Outbreak or 28 Days Later, where you see mass hysteria. It's just people just sitting in their houses on their butts, just being bored and doing weird stuff. And, I don't think anyone really predicted these things. The pads in Star Trek were pretty close. Those are more like iPads, but I don't think anyone saw this coming. The smartphone. I mean, just these little things that we keep in our pockets. They're basically a Hollywood studio in your pocket or anything. Yeah. I don't think any of them really saw some of the weird stuff that we've got going on this day and age.
Yeah. What is the most frightening thing of, because we're all pretty much the same age, but growing up, what is the thing that is most frightening that has come to pass that post-apocalyptic or terrifying futuristic science fiction movies didn't prepare us for?
Social media.
Yeah, that's totally probably
that's my.
I don't know if I'd say it was terrifying, because social media can do a lot of good, but when you talk about things like Nextdoor, which I just mentioned before, but the way it exposed a side of humanity that was probably always there, but just got unleashed, where it's just people go on social media or on YouTube and just write asinine, horribly mean stuff just to be mean. Or just to shame people. That I don't think I ever saw coming, and that's probably the number one thing that scares me about today that science fiction never prepared me for, was that you could just be yourself. It's like someone could be watching this show right now, say a lot of mean things just for the sake of being mean, because it would get them clicks or views or whatever. That is probably the scariest thing. Like I have a Nextdoor account, but I just don't go on there because it's like you go on there and you say something nice like, "Hey, my dog escaped from my yard. Thank you so much to the kind couple that found my dog and brought."
Did your dog fuck you in the ass?
Oh, no. So what did
worse.
happen? This actually did happen to us. Our dog escaped our yard, and these nice people found the dog, brought it to us, and like, oh, we didn't even realize she escaped the yard. So my wife went on Nextdoor to thank those people because he didn't know who they were. Like, hey, thank you to the nice couple who found her dog. And this barrage of comments like, how could you let your dog escape your yard? You don't know what you're doing. And it's
Why did your dog want to escape? Are you hitting it with a rolled up newspaper?
Billy, what was your white?
Scares me that science fiction did not prepare us for.
Billy, what was your beautiful white lab?
Man?
Your beautiful female white lab that you used to bring around.
Violet. Yeah.
Is Violet still here with us? Or?
No, she passed away.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I kind of.
Yeah. 2021.
I loved it when you brought Violet into. Violet was so cool.
She was super cool, and she actually knocked the hard drive off my desk and crashed it, which was a whole other story. But
and that's
how we have another.
You had to put her down.
White Labrador. She's adorable too, but no one will replace Violet. So
yeah, that was her name, Violet. Yeah, she was so cool.
Our new dog, the one who escaped our yard and got us in trouble on Nextdoor, was Madeline.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, now, I mean,
here's my very animated answer to your question. That's the thing that scares me. That science fiction.
Well, and it wasn't really. You kind of started off by saying, "Well, Ben, I don't know if it is social media," but at the end, you kind of said it was.
Yeah. Well, because social media does do good, but it also.
Well, no, I'm not saying it doesn't do good. I just said the fear of it, like everybody letting strangers know who they are, and I guarantee you, in about 10, maybe less than 10 years, all like celebrities are going to be so fucking regretful that they went on those things and told everybody who they are and what they think and what they're doing. Because if you guys remember the era where we didn't know anything about these people, we just knew that they were good actors. And now we know their political stance. We know that a kid shit on their arm, and like
I don't think that that's a thing that is new. And I guess one of
I'm not saying it's new. It's just much more exposed.
Well, I suppose.
Hey, old man Bird's here. Sorry, old man Bird. Hey, thank you, man. Monetize Cinema Gulp. I appreciate you, man. I love you. Thank you.
Like, remember that Playboy interview that John Wayne gave, and he was very, very adamant about his political views. It was in the early 70s, and usually, if anybody doesn't like John Wayne, they point at that.
Yeah, well, it's like you already know what John Wayne's gonna say.
No, I don't think you do. I don't think you do. Like, it was very recent. Like, is Pedro Pascal gay? I don't even know. Like, there are a lot of things that, like, I don't know what's going on. People tell me who I'm supposed to agree with or disagree with, but I think that there is a lot of that stuff. And it's like, do I care what Jason Bateman thinks about the electoral process? No.
I'm not saying you have to care.
Too.
I'm not saying you have to care. I'm just saying that they say it. And now
but they've always been saying it. Performers love saying things. That's part of their job.
My only point is I miss the days of like the mega stars who you didn't know shit about. Tom Cruise was the best thing in the world. Then you find out he's a lunatic.
Yeah, but he did that on Oprah. Everyone knew that. When it comes to social media and whatnot,
I still love Tom Cruise. I don't give a shit.
Oh no, it's fine, but he's a crazy man. And of course you'd have to be to hang off the side of a building or a plane. No, I think the most terrifying thing is the normalization of and Billy, you're married with children. But like, I think that one of the most terrifying things that happens.
He also
is-
played football for Polk High.
Oh, nice. But I think
No,
it's,
Booger says, "Lav it up." He's talking to you, Scotty. Soon it'll be illegal to criticize Pedro Pascal. I agree.
I doubt it. That sounds like some Demolition Man shit. That's 14 credits for criticizing Pedro Pascal. No, but I think that one of the worst things that that the future was the normalization of video dating or electronic or computer dating.
Oh, I
think
100% agree with that. It's a very Bill, you're so lucky, dude. Like you met Creston, right? Creston?
Yeah.
You met Creston right before that whole thing really turned into a weird like algorithm. Like, oh, and people don't even realize, like they're on there and they're just like, oh, this chick's hot. I'm gonna jerk off just to her picture. And it's like what's really happening is like you're giving up your information to create an algorithm. And yeah, maybe somebody, you know, agrees with some of the shit. They team you up or they pair you up with somebody who's like, oh, I also like to hike. You're like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, who the fuck are you? I don't know who you are.
Yeah, I don't think science fiction predicted. Like we might already
No.
all that right.
The dating apps, no movie,
swiping
no,
right.
no fucking movie predicted the dating apps. I don't think.
Yeah, swiping.
I think
left,
like Brave
right,
New World, maybe.
And that's why I'd be very curious if someone needs to like not remake Back to the Future. That would be a crime, but do a movie where you do something like that. Maybe even call out to Back to the Future in the movie where it's like someone from back then does travel to now and be like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, that would make a good movie.
Well, the
Wow,
biggest
you know
disappointment
what?
for me is that there's not 19 Jaws movies.
Yeah.
I wish there was.
That bothers me. I blame Michael Caine.
Thank you, old man Bird. Total Recall, RoboCop, Starship Troopers, Terminators, lots of dystopian futures. How about Enterprise? Well, dude, that is so funny. I didn't bring up Enterprise because it's a TV show, but man, when you guys were talking about Star Trek, that's the one I know the best because that's when I first started watching Star Trek. Okay. And but you know, it didn't turn into a movie, so we didn't really bring it up. But
well, we could we could talk about it.
You know what? Old man Bird? Guess what? I was gonna bring up. Oh shit! I didn't put the photo. I was gonna bring up Metropolis because Metropolis.
Nope.
What?
Megalopolis.
Oh shit! Sorry. Metropolis. I was gonna bring up, but
Metropolis.
But and that's absolutely. I haven't seen
Fritz Lang,
Metropolis.
man. Fritz Lang.
Fritz
Love
Lang.
Fritz Lang.
Film
I
history.
haven't seen it. There's no complete copy, is there?
I don't think so.
Of
But
Metropolis?
there's a Blu-ray of it, but I don't think it's. I think they just put it on Blu-ray to say it's on Blu-ray. But
I
No,
saw it in film school, so I don't even know.
yeah, me too. Me too. Well,
but it was. There was like it's a ridiculously. How long is Metropolis? Like it's like 2.5 hours at least.
Something like that.
I don't think it's that long, is it?
And it is. Oh yeah, man! It's like the original Phantom of the Opera is 2.5 hours. It's crazy. People used to pay a nickel and then just sit there. And
It's like Oppenheimer long.
yeah, and it's insane. But then, and for the longest time, it was like maybe an hour and 50, maybe 2 hours. And then they found like another 45 minutes of
I heard
of
that.
footage
I heard
in
that,
Brazil or something. And so, but they still say that there's missing moments from it. And I've always kept Metropolis at arm's length. And like I just saw, in terms of silent movies, I saw Phantom of the Opera for the first time last year, and I was like, "This is too long to be sitting in silence with nothing but Calliope music." And
Metropolis and Caligari are like, when you're talking like silent films, you're like, these are just absolute legends and glorious to look at. You know?
Yeah.
Well, also too, they influenced a lot of prolific
Yes.
filmmakers later on, like Alfred Hitchcock was very big into German expressionism and all those things. So,
well, David Lynch was more French New Wave, but he also did some,
R.I.P. Rest in peace.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude, Billy, we did a whole David Lynch show.
Yeah, Mulholland Drive stuck with me, like you wouldn't believe, and it wasn't just
me too.
It was
especially the score, man. The score,
the
lesbian scene.
Well, there was that, but I was going to say that's not the only reason, but it definitely didn't hurt.
No, but it's amazing. It is an amazing film, and I was definitely struck by it. And I have a couple of copies on physical media, and my favorite is the one that has the 10 clues. What is this movie about?
Oh, I love that.
The 10
I love
clues
that.
from David Lynch.
I have that. I've always wanted to do a vinyl spin around for that, Scotty, but it's not on vinyl.
Huh.
I have the CD. The CD has. You know how, Billy, like sometimes when you're writing, you put something on in the background that is kind of similar to what you're thinking about writing, and kind of put you in the mood or whatever. Man, that Mulholland Drive score, like not all the goofy songs and stuff like that, but like just the score itself, the creepy score. When I was writing something, it was constantly playing.
I've said this before on other podcasts that Mulholland Drive is one of the films that scares me. That scene where they're in the diner and talking about the guy's dream, and
and then you see the person show up. Oh,
that fucking freaked the fucking shit out of me. And that's the kind of stuff that scares me. When I go to a movie and see a slasher horror film, that stuff doesn't scare me. It just annoys me. But stuff like Mulholland Drive, where you got some like David Lynch fucking with your head, that's the kind of stuff that's going to scare me. Star Trek the Motion Picture also scared me as a kid, but that's a whole other story.
Is it because of the horrible transporter accident?
No, just all the creepy stuff. Jerry Goldsmith with that damn blaster beam.
Oh,
the score. And just the like weirdness of it flying through this thing, and they don't know what the hell it is, and it's just all these weird colors and stuff. It just was too creepy for me. No, the transporter that was cheesy.
Oh, come on. They were horrific screams.
They were, but as a kid, that didn't scare me. It was all the other stuff. Or seeing Persis Kambata bug her eyes out at that one part when she was, throwing a temper tantrum, as Dr. McCoy alluded to. So
yes,
yeah.
All right, Billy, we're gonna have to play it. It's gonna have to happen. You have to face your fears, Billy. Face your fear.
Okay.
Let me know if you can hear it. Can you guys hear that?
No.
Yeah.
I know it's very faint, but okay. Face your feels, buddy.
Dude, I'm going full screen. So here's the deal, Ben. That wasn't scary for me. You didn't have the build up. You need the scene before where they're talking about it.
Yeah, I know. You're right, but I just grabbed that one. I just love how the sound drops when that happens. It's not a jump scare. Like it's the opposite of a jump scare. Like the audio goes out instead of pops up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah, I've heard that chick's really hot in real life. She actually has teeth, at least 4, I'm not sure.
Well, also too, Ben, before we started the show, we were talking about Lost. That guy was in Lost. And I remember when I was seeing
he was
like,
he was also in the Fifth Element. He was in the Fifth Element.
Yeah.
He was in Mad Men. He's been in so many things. Oh yeah.
I love him in the Fifth Element, where I don't know if he's supposed to be a futuristic Jewish person, but he's got that little fucking fucking Dio,
Yarmulke?
like that little, but it's not a yarmulke. It's like a fucking. It looks like that band Devo, but it's just like
Flower
small.
pot?
Shoot, what is his name?
Oh, I don't know his name, but yeah,
can't
he's
look
been
him
in a
up
lot of
because
shit.
When I look up actor for that scene, they talk about Bonnie Aarons, who played the homeless man or the homeless person.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude, that scene's fucking rad. I remember I saw that movie in the theater. God, my second or third year in the military. We just went out and saw it, and then we went to a bar afterwards and we discussed, and we're like, "Holy shit, this movie was fucking whack." You looking it up, Billy?
Yeah, because it's gonna bug me. Patrick Fischler.
Oh, okay, okay.
Or no?
Old Man Bird says, yeah, he knew it. Fifth Element. Good call, Old Man Bird. What is this? V'ger.
Yeah, from Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Yeah, thank you for saying that, Booger 414. I'm glad you resonated with my Star Trek: The Motion Picture reference.
I fucking love Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
It gets a lot of shit.
I mean, I get why people gave it shit, but I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, and I think too that like that was Gene Roddenberry really being like, hey, this is what I want Star Trek to be. And
yeah, well,
he spent a lot of fucking money making it happen, and he made it happen.
It's very easy to tell why people are like, why did it take so long for McCoy and Kirk to get to the Enterprise? It's like, because now Roddenberry had the money to do it, so he wanted to show it. You know, he wanted to show what was actually going on. You never got to see that in the show.
Yeah,
it's not rocket science. He wanted to show the world. You know,
well, they also
he wanted to show everything going on around it.
They also ran out of time.
yeah,
editing the film. But yes, you were correct. And you know, and that Jerry Goldsmith score, even though the blaster beam gave me nightmares as a kid. I mean, that theme song, you know, became the theme to Star Trek Next Generation, and it's iconic till this very day.
So let me ask you, Billy, are you more of a motion picture guy or a Wrath of Khan guy?
Oh, Wrath of Khan, hands down, but I still like the motion picture.
No, I'm not saying you have to pick one or the other, but what one you like better? Yeah.
The Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan is one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made. Yeah,
it is. And also too, just that little mini trilogy that they did with, you know, Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3, Star Trek 4 is amazing. And it's really too bad that James Horner couldn't have scored Star Trek 4, even though I still really like Leonard Roseman's score. But just the fact that they carried on a lot of the same tropes from Star Trek 2 to Star Trek 3 was pretty great. And I love that we're having this talk because they had the same talk on Seinfeld in this season 8.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did. They did a whole episode where they're talking about the Wrath of Khan and the search for Spock and stuff like that.
Old Man Bird says women wear short skirts in Roddenberry's future. Yes, they do.
Not only short skirts, but also knee-high
boots. And they all have big boobs.
No complaints about
no matter
that.
what color.
But I will just say to anyone who is listening to this that is my personal taste. I do not believe that should be inherently what is, you know, forced onto women. That's just personal taste.
Don't worry, you're safe here, man. We're not that kind of channel. So you're good.
My wife knows what I'm into. I'm not worried about it.
Wrath of Khan from Booger says, Wrath of Khan to me is amazing. Not just on its own, but because generally a movie that is a sequel to an episode. Yes, an episode is doomed to obscurity. Yeah, I agree completely. It really, like, they took a chance with Wrath of Khan, and knowing that people remember that. What was that episode called?
Space Seed.
Yeah, Space Seed. Wow, dude, you really are a Trekkie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the fact that they brought back Ricardo Montalban and like, and the only scene that people seem to ever have a problem with is the fact when he's talking to Chekhov, he had never met Chekhov.
Right. Yeah. That was
In
a
the
error.
Yeah.
But
that's the only, he's like, I know you. And it's like, well, but it makes sense because maybe we just missed a scene or so. It's not really that big of a deal, but
it could be argued that Chekhov was the first season of Star Trek and it was never seen. They never,
that's what I mean.
I don't think there ever was anything in canon that denounced that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not really a big. That's a lot of nitpicking.
Yeah,
it makes sense because, like, hey, I remember you from the show.
Right.
We didn't have any screen time together, but I'm sure we crossed paths. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And I like that we can talk about this and still about the topic of our show this episode today. It's still about a movie about the future. I'd be very curious to know what people think of Star Trek 2, having never watched Star Trek or know anything about it. I'd be very curious to know.
Oh, that's a good point. I think they'd be kind of lost. I think they'd be lost. Like, well, yeah, because I mean, it does a good job, kind of showcasing the world and like, hey, we're getting old, McCoy, or whatever. But it's like, if you don't know what they're even fucking talking about, or who they are, then when obviously it's like when people, Billy, it's like when people saw Star Trek Into Darkness who didn't see any other Star Trek, they're supposed to know that this guy is Khan, and what is Khan? That's the thing I hate about that Into Darkness. He's like, I'm Khan. And it's like, well, who the fuck is that? Like to most people watching that movie, who the fuck is that?
Well, it's funny you're saying that because the Star Trek before that, the J.J. Abrams first Star Trek film, Star Trek,
which I really enjoy. But
so
not
I went to go see that in the theater with my wife and my friend from high school. My wife loved it. And she's like, wow, I actually enjoyed Star Trek.
What'd you say?
I'd say good. It's very enjoyable. And I think that's, like or hate J.J. Abrams' version of Star Trek, he got that right. He made Star Trek cool for the masses.
That first movie was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I don't consider it a Star Trek movie, but it's a very fun science fiction movie. Yeah.
Scotty, we're talking about the J.J. Abrams version of Star Trek.
I remember there was an Onion article or Onion video when it came back, and it was like, Star Trek fans are disappointed that this is an action-packed thrill ride instead of being a long, drawn-out conversation about intergalactic politics. I thought that was funny. I like the first one. I really like Star Trek Beyond.
I liked it too. The way they used the Beastie Boys song, that was awesome.
I thought that was rad.
Was great.
A lot of people make fun of it, including
I
fucking
thought
Ben.
it was totally believable that an alien stranded on a planet who had nothing to listen to but Beastie Boys would love that song because she had time to get used to it.
What was the first song? What was the first song that she plays?
Oh, I forgot. I just remember the Beastie Boys.
It's like Tougher Than Leather or something, and I think it's a Run DMC song, but like, no, I just like it. I think that Star Trek Beyond is the closest to an original series episode of any Star Trek movie next to Star Trek 5. Like, those are the episodes that feel like the original series.
Do you want
the rest of them are great. Like, I love them all, like my children, except for Into Darkness, which not my jam.
I thought all three were fine. Into Darkness, there were parts that bothered me, but whatever.
I love the Klingons in that one, though.
Yeah, I don't know. But all I would say is Well, I forgot I was going to say. Actually,
Yeah, it's no big deal. No, I
Yeah,
love
You know what? That happens all the time on Hump Day Happy Hour because we're drinking beers.
drinking beers, smoking
no,
weed.
it has nothing to do.
Drinking
It has nothing to
beers,
do with
beers,
that. That if
beers.
I have a thought, if I don't get it out immediately, I'm going to forget it.
No, but Scott, I can't remember who said it, but I think it was Scotty. Like, I really like Star Trek Beyond. I think it was just called Beyond.
Yeah,
Because it's the only movie in that era with the Abrams Trek where you get McCoy and Spock like talking philosophy, and because the whole movie, the first two movies were just so fast, and it's like blah, 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 everything's happening. I like the first movie. I think Into Darkness is awful personally, but I really like Beyond because it lets the characters breathe for once in this franchise. Unfortunately, it was the last one, and really unfortunate that we lost our Chekhov in the series, Anton Yelchin, who's great actor.
Yeah.
Well, and if you want to see something amazing, I would highly recommend checking out Green Room with Anton Yelchin and Patrick Stewart.
That was our second review of all time, Scotty. Our second review on Cinema Gulp in 2016 was Green Room.
You got Chekhov.
I love that movie.
Sorry, guys, I got it.
Yeah, you do. Picard being a neo-Nazi.
Okay, see you soon, Billy.
And, are you bailing, Billy?
No, I'm going to take a little bio break like you guys have.
Man.
It's fine.
Oh, shit.
That's fine.
Yeah.
How do I turn off the thing?
Just hit the stop camera button.
You can just walk away. Oh no,
Or that. Yeah,
he's
that's
fine. He'll figure it out when he gets back. But
he's new to the streams and the tubes.
Well, and you know what? One of the things about the movies that have predicted the future that I wanted to bring up was Demolition Man. Did we talk about Demolition Man?
No, we didn't, and I have that on my list too. Yeah, you go, boy.
Like, I think because it's so funny. You have to like. I've been on streams with people, and they're like, "Oh, you can't say Nazi, you can't say Hitler, you can't say suicide." This is just a rapid fire of everything that's going to get this episode or this stream demonetized.
Demonetized. That's funny, Scotty.
Yeah, come on, it was kind of funny. And so, but like, that's the thing, is that you like, that's 5 credits for saying the bad thing. You can't say that thing. And like, the sensorial nature of that future has literally come to pass. Like, as we've discussed, I am Canadian. Like, there is legislation in place that I can't get like news updates on Facebook because it's been like, oh no, this isn't available in your country. And like, there's so much of that happens now, and some of it happens because of copyright, and then some of it happens because of the nature of restricting information from a population. And it's like, you can't even discuss it, or else you're going to be taxed or
you're
fined.
You are 150% right. Yeah.
And also, I was, it was very surprising to me to find out that Taco Bell had, in fact, won the fast food wars.
That's the thing.
McDonald's.
That's the only thing. That's the biggest thing that movie got wrong, except for the seashells, that we're going to wipe our ass with seashells, is that McDonald's definitely won the war over Taco Bell. But Taco Bell's a close second,
I kind of, and
but it's a funnier movie that they say Taco Bell, because first of all, if they use McDonald's would have been like, well, we want $80 million for you to use our name in this movie or whatever. It's funnier that it's Taco Bell, and that when you see the food, it's all fucking tiny.
I wonder, you know what? I'd have to go back and look into it, but I wonder if Taco Bell had like Happy Meals, like Demolition Man Happy Meals.
Well, they had those specials, if you remember, like The biggest one people remember is when Godzilla '98 was coming out.
Oh,
They had the Godzilla Gordita. That was pretty much it. But we're going to need a bigger box. Yeah, but they didn't. I don't think they had like Happy Meals or
whatever. Same diff. But yeah, no, it would be fun to see if there's anyway.
Trap the chalupa.
Yeah.
Good call,
that
though.
Little dog. What happened to that dog?
Oh, there's probably 15. I don't think you ever saw. I
remember what happened to that dog.
What?
Eddie Griffin tried to save it in Armageddon.
Yeah, that's true. Shit, I hope.
But yeah, no, I think the Demolition Man. I still use Dennis Leary's little rant as a reaction to things, and it's like, I want to run around and I want to smoke a giant like it's basically a stand-up. It's basically No Cure for Cancer, and but it's encapsulated in a minute and a half.
Sandra Old Man Bird says Sandra Bullock, Scotty R37, is known to like 2033 Tank Girl. I don't know. Sandra Bullock wasn't in that movie. But
no, she wasn't, and I don't know what 2033 Tank
I don't know.
I do. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Sandra Bullock and of Tank Girl. So I guess I have to wait until 2033.
So Billy, while you were gone, we were talking about one of the funnest futuristic movies, which was Demolition Man. It's a blast. Dennis Leary runs a group of homeless people in the sewer, and they eat rats. And then Taco Bell has taken over the chain restaurants from McDonald's, which will never happen. But Taco Bell is probably second.
I wonder. I don't have my.
That movie came out in '93.
Did that because
that movie came out in '93.
Yeah, but when did it take place? 2027.
You want to know what random fact I remember? So the fact that Taco Bell took over in that movie, when Time Cop came out, they had a cross promotion with Taco Bell, and they actually did fabricate a scene from the film where, like, oh, now all restaurants are Taco Bell. So
did they do that in Time Cop?
No, so they didn't do it in Time Cop. That was just the commercials that Taco Bell did to cross promote with the film. I love Tom. I'm almost wondering if Demolition Man got the idea from that ad campaign.
From what I understand, also because there wasn't a big Taco Bell prevalence in Australia. I think it was Pizza Hut was the dominating the dominating fast food chain in different markets. So they had to like dub it. I think it's
Scotty.
It's Pizza Hut.
What's the pizza place that Red Letter Media always talk about? It's like with the creepy fucking oh my god, I can't remember. Oh, I thought you did. Never mind. Anyway. Old Man Bird continues his talk on Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock was in the Taco Bell future. Okay.
Of course she was. And you know what? The thing, and this is the reason that I ask what year Demolition Man takes place. I think it's like 2027, 2023.
It's ridiculous that it's not that far in the future and it's changed so much.
The San
Angeles back in the day.
I used to listen to Adam Carolla religiously, and that's the number one thing he would complain about movies in the future is that there was just not enough time for us to get to the place that they were in.
Yeah, I think that's my number one problem with Blade Runner. It's like, okay, this movie's amazing, but why not be 100 years further? You know?
I mean, that's one thing that was really smart about Dune. That thing takes place like 8,000 years in the future.
Well, yeah, Dune is like fucking thousands of years past us.
Like 8,000.
There's only artifacts of like who we were as a society on Earth. Yeah.
But also, you know what? And while we're on the subject of movies and works of fiction, I know it started off as a book, but like the spice must flow. That has been, at least in recent history, natural resources going to make things go, go, go. Like, that is a tale as old as time.
That's true. Well, and that's what I loved about the David Lynch one so much, is like it was just having fun. But really quickly, there's 20 people watching. I want to say,
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Thank you so much. We're happy you're here. Sound off in the chat if you guys have any like future movies that you think sucked.
Yeah, dude, you struck a nerve, Ben. You're talking about the David Lynch version of Dune.
I fucking love that movie. I saw it a year ago in the theater, and I'm like, dude,
Patrick Stewart has Patrick Stewart, and
it has Patrick Stewart.
You actually get to see what the navigators look like.
Vaginas
at the very beginning of the movie. They don't even mention them in the fucking Denis Villeneuve movie. Yeah, they don't even fucking mention them.
Well, they don't really go off planet in the
no, they don't. Only in the first movie where they show like, oh, okay, this planet has an ocean. You're like, oh wow,
yeah,
I've never seen that before.
But there's no like, are there spaceships in the Denis Villeneuve?
Yeah, there are. And honestly, like the geography, like the size, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm sorry. I think Billy, we haven't talked since these new Dune movies have come out, but I don't really like them that much. I like the David Lynch Dune personally.
Well, Billy, what did you think of the Denis?
I enjoyed them, but here's the problem.
Oh,
the heinous crime of watching them on my phone.
Oh,
I just can't get out.
The only good thing about them is the visual.
So when I watch movies on my phone, I'm watching them like this. So
it's so funny.
The only way I watch these,
honey, shut up! I'm watching Avatar for the first time.
Sneak away from my kids and hide in my bedroom and watch a movie on my phone. They're freaking watching Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood on the TV downstairs.
Do they watch Dora the Explorer?
No.
Oh man, I want to see the Dora the Explorer.
Billy, what about
they saw the movie? That was it.
What about Peppa Pig? You guys watch Peppa Pig?
I watch Peppa Pig, and it makes me want to shoot myself.
I was a stepdad for a few years of my life, and Peppa Pig was my existence. That's
fucking theme song. Jeez.
Keep it down back there. I'm watching the bridge on the River Kwai on my iPhone.
Dude, I watched that.
We're trying to watch Peppa Pig.
Take a big step back and literally fuck your own face.
I've watched
with iPhone headphones.
I saw Bridge on the River Kwai like 10 times. They wrote a paper on it in college.
Yeah, it's a great
movie.
Yeah,
it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Can you imagine watching it on a fucking phone? To quote David Lynch.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
And yet you went to the theater for Barbie.
Here's the deal. If someone tells me they watched my film on a phone, I'm just glad you watched the film.
Sure.
Fucking shit.
Oh yeah. No. Dude,
but isn't there an ideal way? Like, and even if you remove your own ego and from like, I made this, so look at my card, like my crayon drawing on the fridge. But like, isn't there an ideal way for your art to be enjoyed?
Oh yeah, it's on the big screen. I mean, I want people to come out to this screening on Tuesday and see it in a theater. But you know, if the choice becomes, do they see the film or do they watch it on their phone? Or guess, let me rephrase that. Is the choice between they never see the film ever, or they watch it on their phone? I'd rather them watch it on their phone. So
no, I get that. Yeah.
But yes, I agree. It should be seen on the big screen in a nice theater with nice sound, nice everything. Even if it's an indie film that's mixed L and R, just stereo, no surround sound.
What do they call it? 4DX. Would you ever want your film in 4DX where you're like basically on a roller coaster?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't think
we watched Fast and
Is there-
Furious 10 on that, and it made the movie so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, I went to go see a 4DX of Top Gun Maverick.
Oh,
and everyone in the theater hated me because I treated it like a ride, and I was stoned as
you're like,
fuck. And I was like, "Whee!"
So here's another shameless plug for my film. We shot on the same camera that they shot Top Gun Maverick on.
So what'd you shoot it on?
The Sony Venice 2.
Damn, is that your camera or did your DP have that?
And so my DP, he works with a company called Rare Breeds to rent a lot of his gear, and so they got him the whole package. And the trade-off was, making sure we took care of the insurance and putting their company's name on our film in big letters, which I did, because I'm grateful until the day I die that we got to shoot on that camera. Because I said earlier, I was ready to shoot the fucking film on my phone, and then we got the camera that they used to film Top Gun Maverick.
I noticed in the first 30 minutes really quickly that there's so many wide angle lenses used, like really wide angle lenses.
Yep.
And you also use close-ups in the car with the girl at the beginning, but like once the thing happens, like you really have those wide angle lenses, and I love those. Like they bring an intensity from the old school era, because everybody thinks, oh, it can only be intense if everything's super close and it's shaking around all over the place.
I was really trying to emulate what Alfred Hitchcock pulled off with the long take, which was very well done back in the day with VistaVision, CinemaScope, all those bells and whistles.
Fuck yeah!
So this is like the digital version of that.
In my opinion, if you're going to emulate anybody, Alfred Hitchcock, because he's my all-time favorite film.
And let's talk about another filmmaker who, I think back in the days when we were at USC, I was hoping I'd be the next Alfred Hitchcock with this film, but someone's already taken that moniker. It's fucking Jordan Peele.
Really? No.
Yeah. Okay.
I disagree with
that. Was a lot of no's.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think Shyamalan, even though his writing sucks, like his directing style is almost identical to Hitchcock. Okay. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
No, that's fair. Yeah. Okay.
I don't. You know what? I'm going to quote Brie Larson in that she says she's not going to be the first lady Tom Cruise. She's going to be the first Brie Larson. And comparing people. Well, no, but that's fucking true. She is. And the thing is that Oscar-winning actress Brie Larson. The thing is that I don't like comparing. Like, I don't like comparing anybody to Kubrick. I don't like comparing anybody to Hitchcock.
I know.
I think that there is a difference. I don't think it's fair to either Shyamalan or Hitchcock or Jordan Peele to Hitchcock to say, "Oh, you're that," because I don't think that Jordan Peele is the new Hitchcock. I think Jordan Peele is the Jordan Peele.
Fair enough.
That's my very expounding argument.
I think the reason why we do those comparisons, because that a lot of times the way Hollywood works is you pitch things as, oh, it's this and it's mixed with that. So like, I'm working on my next script, and I feel like I have to pitch it. Oh, it's The Graduate meets Good Will Hunting, and that is supposed to get people to understand what it's about. I can't just say what it's about. They have to have references seen before, and that's where it comes from. The whole comparison thing is because Hollywood.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it's Legally Blonde meets fucking Dune.
You know what? Interestingly enough, it's a scene from the movie Orange County where Colin Hanks's girlfriend is hanging out with some guy. I forget his name. He's a filmmaker and actor in his own right, and he's like explaining his movie, and it's all very, very profound and philosophical. I forget what the exact description of it is, and then at the end he's like, but it's ostensibly about vampires. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
You have to pull it in so that people know something that is recognizable for anybody to invest anything into.
My co-writer, it's on the website. My co-writer says our film 3 that we keep talking about.
Yeah.
It's Charlie's Angels meets The Road. Sort of. That's how she bills it, and I kind of like that.
I love the name. I love the name 3 too. Like, I love it that you don't make a title that's like really obvious at the same time, not abstract. It's just like you get it after the first 30 minutes of the movie. You know, good title.
Now, am I going to be completely lost if I haven't seen 1 or 2?
That's funny you ask that because the first
I love you,
I ever
Scotty.
worked on was my colleague's really fun sci-fi schlocky horror comedy film, Death Blood 4. It was my first feature film.
Death Blood. I love that name.
Yeah, Death Blood 4. Check that one. It's available on Prime Video.
Sweet.
Yeah. And everyone, when people were auditioning for it, and oh, can I see Death Blood 1, 2, and 3? So I get what's going on.
There is no. It's like Star Wars Episode 4. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the joke. And
so were you
Leonard Part 6?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that movie where he rides an ostrich.
It's terrible. It's such a bad movie, but that's my favorite part about that movie. Is just that it's called Leonard Part 6.
But Billy, were you able to cast
Gregory Hines?
Were you able to cast him in your movie?
No.
Sorry, I had to do it.
That's great. Shepherd's Gate had some names in it, but the other ones haven't so far yet. So,
all right, you guys, we've gone for 3 hours. What do you say? What do you say we call it a night?
Sounds good because I'm starving. I haven't had dinner yet.
Oh,
Taco Bell.
Well, Billy's on my time. He's on my time zone because he's just north of me. So
yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah, so let's get the hell out of
everybody,
here, guys. This has been great.
Yeah, but in the chat, you can find Billy's information for his newest movie, 3. I'm gonna finish it tonight, Billy. I swear to God, I'm gonna finish it tonight. But this has been amazing, man. I miss you. It's good to talk to you. Please come on more.
And Scotty,
let's keep doing this.
We'll talk about Star Trek until the frickin' sun comes up.
Fuck yeah.
Love it.
Dude, live long and prosper. It is nice. You know, it's nice to meet someone who says, oh shit, am I a Trekkie? Let me tell you. I'm glad that we are out of the darkness of the 1990s when we were growing up in school and being like, I like Star Trek, whatever. And now we could just be like, you know what? I will tell you about species 8472 and why they're crazy fluidic space. Almost, they took on the Borg, bitches. So yeah, no, I love talking about Star Trek at any given
I
opportunity.
understood everything you just said.
Did you really?
Yes.
Then we can be friends.
I'm gonna hook you guys. I'm gonna hook you guys up for sure.
Yeah. Well, I will say one last thing before we close. I think I had the most hope. I was on yearbook staff my junior year, or no, it was maybe my sophomore year, and I was really shy. And the most popular guy in class, he was a senior. He took 2 girls to the prom. He was on yearbook staff, and he's like, "Yeah, Billy. So what's your deal, man?" And he's like, "Oh, why are you so shy?" I'm like, "I don't know. People aren't really interested in one." He's like, "What are you interested in?" "Oh, Star Trek." He's like, "Dude, I love Star Trek. Next Generation's the bomb." And I'm like, "All right, most popular kid in your class loves Star Trek. I guess there's hope for everybody."
Yeah.
And on that note, we love you guys. We drink your cinema, Billy. Love you, Scotty. Love you. You guys are great.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks.